right-hand side yet again. Yes, he's trying to pressure out the solo lane. We saw him do it in game 1 and a little bit in game 2. His goal is to kind of just pressure out Snowflake. Terra!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Brian Codex out here soloing Alfredo, the support, taking down the ADC. That.
Welcome everybody to another fantastic broadcast here on the AGL web or Twitch page. I have myself, Narwallaby, joined by the ever lovely Drummer. Drummer, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing pretty well.
Great. We got some pretty action-packed games to bring here. We're going to have the Challengers Division, Titans Bane versus Waste Management. You know, we're just so excited for this. We're going to go ahead and just jump right into the picks and bans. Both of these teams are mostly Waste Management is vying for the top two positions here. They need to try to secure themselves a victory this week and next week, and then they can try to get that first round bye coming into the playoffs, which is going to be huge for them.
Okay. Starting off the bans, we have Ardio and Tiamat. Pretty standard stuff. You expect to see it.
Yeah, nothing really surprising so far from either of these teams. You know, this being one of our diamond divisions, it's definitely going to be something that a lot of these, meta bans that we kind of see coming out in the SPL, a lot of the times bleed over into a lot of these diamonds and high diamond masters games. Is there any kind of picks, Drummer, that potentially stand out to you that may not be so meta or could potentially slip into that first pick slot?
First pick, probably like so far we've got two. We have Uller banned. They just banned, so they have a meta hunter and a meta mage pick, but that does leave a lot of other really strong mages wide open. So you might want to lock in the Raijin like right away because that's been snap and banned quite a bit recently. So could be a good one to go with.
Yeah, Raijin definitely been kind of a force there in the mid lane. I know he did take a little bit of a nerf, and mages just in general kind of took nerfs, but I think Tiamat still being top of the top of the mountain there when it comes to the mid lane. So still, again, just get rid of her. Gilgamesh has been kind of an interesting pick and ban. Sometimes he makes it through drafts without being picked or banned all the way through, but Titans Bane electing to go ahead and take that one away here.
Oh well, hey, spoke too soon. They hit the Raijin ban. Okay. There's still a lot of mages wide open though, so I feel like you could go with. I've seen Persephone get played. Hell even's another really good one.
Mhm.
But they're going to go ahead. Looks they're hovering Geb for Titan's Bane there.
Yeah, Geb's kind of made a comeback as well, and they do end up locking this in for the first pick. Really kind of exciting to see Geb come back into the meta with the recent changes to him, ultimate able to deal damage. Kind of surprising to see it first picked, especially like you said with these mages coming through. I mean, they leave the Morgan, Persephone, and Hell all still available. So interesting to see what Waste Management look to go to here.
Looks like they're hovering Hachiman and Odin. Yeah, Odin's another one. I kind of forgot of him. We've been seeing Odin banned very frequently, but looks like they're going to just take advantage of him being available now.
Yeah, Odin definitely been a force to be reckoned with over there in the solo lane. He's had some ventures into the jungle. Sometimes you can throw him into that support role. So a little bit of a flex picks coming out from Waste Management right now. But if I had to put my money on it, I'd bet that Odin is probably going to end up going into the solo lane. And we're seeing an on her hover here. Do you have any insight on? And they lock it in. Any insight on like why you'd want to select an on her here over some of these other hunters?
I guess you have a leap with on her, so worst case scenario, like you just kind of bite the bullet, take the damage on the Odin cage, and jump out. Sometimes can be safer than staying in there and duking it out. As far as the matchup with Hachiman goes, I don't know. That's going to come down to like I think like just player skill and hitting your abilities. 'Cause like Hachiman's a very safe hunter. He has both his dash and if worst comes to worst, he can just use the ultimate to get out of trouble. But on her, I think definitely has the better like follow up combo because he can do the impale stun into like the ultimate or whatever. Whereas Hachiman has to hope for the 2 hits on his dash to get the stun.
Right. Yeah, and we see Susano getting locked in for Titan's Bane. You know, a bunch of buffs to the junglers in this patch. You know, they got oops all maces build coming through, so that one's been pretty dominant as of late. So Susano's, I've, in my opinion, I think Susano is one of those that is able to use that build very effectively. And then Waste Management picking up the Scylla here before the second ban phase. Anything you're looking to see get taken away in the second ban phase coming up, Drummer?
Oh, let's see. So Waste Management still probably looks like they're looking for a jungler and probably a support. Odin, like you said before, is probably going to be in their solo lane. So here they looks like just Yamoja and Sylvanas have been banned out. So that doesn't it leaves kind of a lot open. You can always go with the old tried and true like Sobek or Cerberus,
Hmm.
Ymir. These would all be fine choices. Pretty good to pair with Hachiman. Susano, though, I want to comment. Susano is one that if you, especially with those mace buffs, if you're a solid Susano player, like heck yeah, you can take advantage of all of those mace items super well.
Yeah, they come online very quickly for sure. As we see Soul and Baba Yaga getting banned out for Waste Management to kind of taking a shot towards the mid lane. Again, Morgan and Persephone has been kind of left open. You know, I think in the lower levels of play, you see more Persephone play because she just does a lot of damage to a single target for the most part. So I'm wondering if any of that's going to translate over to this higher level of play where she's not really as favored as much. But like you mentioned, they do look out to ban a couple of Guardians. Titans Bane do, and they're taking away that Sylvanas and the Khepri. But hovering a Cabrakan here for Waste Management, if this gets locked in, this could make for an interesting draft for them.
Sure. I feel like, at least from my perspective, if you when you see someone lock in Cabrakan, that very clearly indicates to me that hopefully, at least you hope their strategy is that they're going to play all aggression all the time. Because
Hmm.
Cabrakan is definitely a very aggressive character. You even see some like goofy plays where you build like all the damage items on him and try to like one shot people and whatever. But there's a lot you can do with him, and but like I said, I think that's a clear indication you're going to want to play aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. Waste Management definitely looking to W key themselves at Titan's Bane, but Cerberus getting locked in as well as the Giannis. This Titan's Bane is draft is very tanky, very safe, and has a ton of mobility to get across the map. You know, you have Geb roll out on her leap, to help with his rotations. Susano's one of the quickest rotators of the jungle role, and obviously through space and time with that Giannis. But this kind of leaves it open for Waste Management. We have the Odin and Cabrakan. Both of those have flexed in either support or solo, and they're looking to hover this Ratatosker. I'm thinking if you lock in this Ratatosker, that's probably going jungle, so you have a little bit of flex there with the Odin Cabrakan. Um, Interesting to see, potentially where one of those would go because I feel like it's probably going to be Cerberus going into the solo lane. So which one of these do you think has a better matchup into the Cerberus, the Odin or the Cabrakan here?
But Cerberus, I mean, he does have the leap. So, like I said, always sometimes you have to bite that bullet and leap out of the Odin cage. If it's, you have to balance that choice. Okay, I know I'll take the damage leaping out, but do I want to stay and fight this or do I want to get the heck out? So, Cerberus, I think, is
Hmm.
probably better because there's more options. Whereas Cabrakan, he has to commit to the brawl.
Yep.
Or not, I'm sorry, not Cabrakan. We're talking about versus Odin.
Odin. Yeah.
Whereas if it was like, say, Geb, you'd have to just commit to the brawl there.
Right. Well, we won't waste any more time here with the picks and bans. We'll go ahead and throw it over to Voiceless One and Argent Surge to bring you the action here.
Thank you very much, Narwallaby and Drummer. This is the Voiceless One back here once again with Argent Surge, and we're very excited to be bringing you the next game in Albion Giants League, Week 6. This is Titans Bane versus Waste Management. How you doing, Argent?
I'm doing all right. I'm pretty excited to see two teams from the Challengers division go head to head here. Usually, we either get somebody on the lower side of the scale, usually our Barbarians division, or our higher end of the scale with our Vikings or Legends or Mercenaries divisions here. So, getting something that's more in the middle that can show where players can grow while also showing some of the beginnings of really good strategy and compositions is really exciting for me to watch.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this one is going to end up playing out here. It's shaping up to be a good one. If you have to pick a I know I asked this question. Oh, hang on. Big aggression coming out at minute 0 here as Waste Management just going to walk down the Geb in the duo lane and instantly pick themselves up a first blood. I did not expect that. I was all ready to ask you some questions, find something to talk about for these first couple of minutes, but no. We're coming out full aggression from Waste Management. They pick up their first kill already.
Yeah, and that's kind of the idea where you're going into a duel lane with a Cabrakan is that is a kill lane. You cannot play super back and super defensively because you don't have the ability to, with Cabrakan, his main clear, puts him directly in the center of waves most of the time. So that just puts him in such a dangerous spot. So if you aren't playing that aggressive play to force out the other duel lane, you're essentially sacrificing your support just to try to clear the wave.
Totally get that. Well, he has taken a little bit of damage, going to have to back up right now, but we will keep our eye on this dual lane as you said, the Cabrakan means it's going to be a spicy matchup over here for just a little while at least. But what I was going to ask you is, which comp do you like? We know what the desk thinks, but I want to know which comp you like better as a whole over here for both teams.
I think both have really strong rotational abilities with the Giannis through space and time ultimate and Ratatasker's ultimate that can traverse him quite a ways across the map. Not as far as Giannis, but essentially a similar distance. So it really depends on which team decides to group up and abuse those global ultimates more. Giannis can rotate himself and allies to like any lane he wants. So if, say, Geb, Susano, and Giannis all decide they want to gank solo lane, that's going to be really tough for Odin to try to deal with, having 4 people in his lane suddenly, whereas Ratatasker can only bring himself. So I think Titan's Bane, if they play their composition right and go with the strengths of their composition, they can have the upper hand in any fight that starts out.
Interesting. I favor Waste Management's comp just a little bit because I agree with you. Titan's Bane has a lot of potential on their side, but there is a lot of margin for error, a lot of room for error in that comp there. And so I just like the ability of the individual heroes themselves of Waste Management to just blow somebody up. I guess the way I feel is I'm more scared of Waste Management, each of their god choices individually. But I think Titan's Bane can be very scary if they work, if their team coordination is there, they can make it happen.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's very much a high execution comp versus a more traditional, each individual player can do an effective piece in the game on Waste Management side. It's also going to kind of determine how late the game goes, who's really favored here, because Scylla, she's scary. She's already level 5. She has that on a monster available, but as she gets more and more levels, she's going to get hit harder and harder. And we all know that Scylla is the most, if not, yeah, I would say probably the most hard-hitting mage in the game on a consistent basis. So you really have to be cautious if this game goes late of where the Scylla is positioned and how to counter that Scylla's ability to just blow any specific squishy up in a team fight.
Especially in the mid lane. Oh, wait, gank coming in here. Waste Management looking for another kill. Locked into those Cabrakan walls is that unfortunate Geb. He's going to get blown up and taken down, but the Anhur uses his leap to get back out underneath the tower. So it is only 1 kill, but it's still a kill going over the way of Waste Management. What I was going to say is Scylla is also especially dangerous in the mid game if she is able to just get consistent farms. So there's kind of this internal pressure onto this Giannis to make sure that the Scylla doesn't just run away with farm on all these camps, because if she starts to get a little bit fed, she's even more terrifying than she already is.
Yeah, especially with the setup she gets from both Cabrakan and Ratatasker, and also as well Odin. A lot of them have very much capabilities to put one person in one spot with the Cabrakan walls, Odin cage, or the Ratatasker ultimate can knock people up, and he can immediately stun out that 5 corn that he now has online. That's all set up for this high burst damage coming out from the Scylla. So it's really going to be the most vulnerable person currently on Titan's Bane is the Susano. He decides to go the blink over the beads. So essentially, if he gets rooted by a Sikkim or stunned in front of the Scylla, he's going to be dealing with a lot of damage coming at him all at once.
Pretty much a death sentence if you have no beats at that point, which is already so squishy as an assassin. Oh, but he comes in on the back line, going to try and pick something up against the Scylla. He will get the dash away. The Scylla tried to get away, but not going to happen. That's a Scylla falling in mid lane. Now Cabrakan going to pound the ground a little bit, throw up his walls, trying to find something against this Susano. He'll pull out the tornado, deal some damage and get himself a Ratatosker in exchange. They're actually going to get the Kabrakan as well. 3 quick kills going over the way of Titan's Bane. And the execution we were talking about earlier is absolutely on point there as they combine together to create an incredible effect around the mid lane there.
Yeah, Susano's able to get the pick onto the Scylla without Scylla even being able to throw an ability back. And he didn't even have to use his ultimate to secure that kill. That was pure base abilities. Hachiman actually barely escaping with his life, having to use that ult-mounted archery just to get out of range of the on-her damage there. But that was a really good opening into that fight. The through space and time came in. I think it hit both members of Waste Management that were sitting there trying to kill in return for the mid laner, but having that through space and time come in, having Giannis be able to rotate in with Gab right behind him was a really strong team fight.
Knockout coming through here against this Cerberus. He's going to use the Stygian Torment to try and pull everybody away from him, and then the leap to make it back out underneath the tower. Burns the use of the ultimate there, and without that, that's a dead Cerberus, so something they will have to keep an eye out for later on in the game. He has also taken Blink, no beads. He doesn't always need them because he's Cerberus, but that may be something they can abuse with future ganks later on in the game.
Yeah, it's an interesting relic choice as well for the Kabrakan to decide to go the bracers over the Blink. It kind of hurts their initiation a little bit. They're going to be really depending on the Ratatosker ultimate and the Odin Blink cage to start a lot of these fights off for Waste Management. So unless he gets that Blink at level 12, I think Waste Management is going to slightly struggle when it comes to these 5v5 team fights to find a strong initiation through the Kabrakan.
Definitely going to be a challenge for him to get up in people's faces without that instant blink. Although he can always just kind of run people down and use that stun ability of his to kind of lock somebody down if he absolutely needs to. So that's just going to be kind of play versus counterplay, what we see, how that comes out there, especially going into a Geb who just has knockups for days. It's really easy for him to provide peel when the Kabrakan decides he wants to get aggressive. And speaking of, going to get pulled into this Susanoo. The Kabrakan is locked in. The Tornado going to chunk him down, and that is a dead Kabrakan. That's his second death of the game over on Gigafoot 0. And now, using the space that provides, they'll take this Scorpion and bring the Gold Fury back onto the field here.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was hoping that they would do. That they have a really strong hold on the gold side of the map right now. As you see, Butter actually maybe looking for an aggressive play, but Ratatasker catches him out in the jungle.
Trying to get something, but it's not going to happen. Susanoo's going to have to dash away, but Ratasker's got to dash too. He's going to go after it. Ooh, through the Cosmos coming out. This is not to escape. This is to kill. Looking for the slam down to get what he's looking for. No, the presence of the Geb will force him away. Just doesn't want to take that fight into all the players that are playing around it for Titan's Bane at the moment. So that plan will be abandoned. Ratasker's going to back up. They'll reset.
That was still a really good, that was very much worth for Flux to even go up into that through the Cosmos, because that forced the Geb Blink. Geb blinked to get in range to shield the Susanoo if Ratatasker decided to continue the chase there. So your ultimate, which is on a 70-ish second cooldown at this point, versus the Geb Blink, which is still down for another 100 seconds, you have the advantage there. That 30-second gap between your ultimate coming back online and that Blink coming back online is a pretty wide margin if you're a Ratatasker to look for a gank somewhere where the Geb is out of position, unable to help.
Absolutely, just been maxing every little bit of value you can get there, from catching that Susanoo out of position, and now Waste Management taking down the Forp. So now both neutral objectives, big neutral objectives, I should say, are on the field here, able to provide pressure for either team that may need them. And we're approaching 10 minutes. That's when we generally see teams start to look a little bit towards this Gold Fury. That's kind of the thing to do.
Yeah, that Gold Fury is going to be definitely a contested spot. And speaking of trying to get control of the Gold Fury already, we see Geb and Susanoo start to path over towards this Hachiman. They've been looking to gank Marco Polo here for a little bit. None has been super effective so far. Marco Polo actually coming away still 1-0-1 on his stat line here. But I do kind of want to quickly mention an item build choice that was made by Ryzen on the Scylla here. Decides to go the Doom Orb first item, and that's not a very common first item anymore. Normally you would only see it on magical junglers, like if you're playing Habwa or even a Giannis jungle, I can see that being built there. Or if you're playing the Morgan, I know the Morgan still can definitely benefit from the Doom Orb. But having that be built instead of what's been most commonly seen as the Cronus Pendant, we see some action mid lane actually break out, but I don't think this is going to happen with that.
No, it'll be all right. Continue your thought.
But
I
yeah,
wanna know this.
instead of going to the Chronos pendant that a lot of mid laners are going right now, or going directly into the flat pen, the Doom Orb's going to be a lot of gold for potentially very little reward. So I'm interested to see how that works out.
Yeah, I don't hate it because Scylla she does have a movement ability, but her biggest weakness is her squishiness. So being able to get taken out and blown up. So maybe the thought process behind the Doom Orb there is just giving you a little bit more escape if you get dove on. I'm not entirely sure, but it does still provide a huge chunk of magical power. So it's not. I don't think it's a bad choice. I think I would call it curative.
It is an intriguing choice into characters like Giannis and Susanna, who are notoriously hard to run away from. I guess then maybe if you want to use it to try to help yourself with that. But honestly, if I'm the Scylla there, at that point, I'm just going, if they go on me, I'm just turning and burning with any burst damage I can. But hopefully they'll end up working out for her in the long run here.
We have the Oracles taken down by Waste Management. They're going to have vision on that Gold Fury, giving them quite a big advantage over the next little bit. And you can see both teams already starting to pull everybody over here to this Gold Fury. There is no interest in the rest of the map whatsoever. And I think Waste Management, if they don't see too much presence here, may be interested in pulling soon. They're going to back up and take this red camp. But I think Titan's Bane are a little bit hesitant to pull here because they know Waste Management has vision on the Gold Fury. That allows them to go a little bit farther, take some lanes in mid and left side, allows them to take camps and things like that without needing to keep an eye on the Gold Fury 100% of the time because they have that vision right there. It looks like vision notwithstanding, Titan's Bane think they have a chance. They see everybody in mid lane and they're going to try and burn it down before they can get here. Incoming are Waste Management. Gold Fury's down to about half health, and Titan's Bane see them coming. They will disengage immediately. You can see the respect they have for Waste Management's comp there, as they're not interested in trying to continue that fight with the Gold Fury burning them down. And now they're being pushed back very far due to Waste Management's aggression. Waste Management have taken all the coverage, taken all the space, and now they're going to be the ones to start pulling this Gold Fury.
This is going to be really important to see how they initiate if you're Titan's Bane into this, because it's going to really set the tone for the rest of the fight.
Reset once again, and now all the ults are going to be coming out. We got at least 3 of them burned right now for Waste Management. Through space and time, going to come out from Giannis looking for something on the other end. The first one to fall is the Ratatoskr after he had jumped in. Extremely low health is this Kabrak, and he's running for his life as the Geb is chasing him down. On the front line, we have the Marco Polo on the Hachiman going to get taken down, and now it looks like Waste Management in shambles. They lose 3, they lose 4. Only one remaining is this Odin. He'll probably be okay because he has leech. Oh no, you get blown up by the Giannis? No, he'll be all right. They'll even let him go. He'll use his leap to get gone because all that Titan's Bane care about now is they're going to take this Gold Fury.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was kind of saying right before all that kicked off, is however Waste Management tries to initiate that fight is going to set the tone for a lot of that. As we see Odin actually jumping in, potentially trying to look for a steal, unable to secure it though, now trying to get out with his life, potentially not going to find his way out, but I think with just how low Titan's Bane are, they're going to respect the Odin and let him back up here.
Yeah, it's a valiant effort, but he's just a little bit too late. Oh no, throws the Odin cage looking for something against this Honor, and he'll get it. Hey, if you can take those, you'll get them. I mean, that is a little win there for Waste Management. It's not what they were looking for going into that fight, but they'll take it in the aftermath because sometimes that can be all you get. And actually, this Ratatoskr might have a sixth sense. There's a Giannis here. Maybe looking, yep, he uses the blink trying to go in.
Kev took the abilities.
Gets what he needs, can't get through the portal because of the knock-up on the Ratatoskr ability, and the Geb shield isn't quite there long enough. And that is a second kill now going over to the way of Waste Management. So staggering a couple deaths there at the end is going to give them essentially a free Pyromancer and kind of priority positioning around this Fire Giant. Well, it is still a little early. We're only at 15 minutes. Not unheard of to see Fire Giant taken this early. Although we first see a team fight coming out, the Tornado going to come out from the Susan, they're going to knock everybody up. They'll just chase him away, return to get the Pyromancer, and then back right up because there was nobody else from Titan's Bane really in range in order to make that a full team fight.
Wow, that was such a strange and not what one would see with just a momentum and gear shift happening there. Waste Management essentially gives all the momentum to Titan's Bane off of that scuffed team fight by Gold Fury. Titan's Bane gets the Gold Fury, but Honor has no mana, stays a little bit too long, and the ward coverage really coming in for Waste Management there. Odin sees that the Honor is greeting for that Harpy there on duo side, sees he has no mana and decides to engage on him by himself, gets the kill there. The ward they have by red buff catches the Giannis out. Ratatasker gets the kill on Giannis there, and that opens the pathway for them to get that Pyromancer. Suddenly, all the momentum that Titan's Bane had is gone and thrown Waste Management's side, and that gold lead that Titan's Bane did have is now on Waste Management side as well. So this is a really interesting turnaround.
Yeah, they might as well not have taken a Gold Fury there at all. I mean, you still want it, but it doesn't come out too much in the long run because we're all tied up at gold again anyway. So not really getting anything in the long term from that gain on the Gold Fury just because of how the aftermath of that fight went. Ooh, grabbed by the Ratatosker and knocked up. That's a huge amount of damage, but the Geb Shield is there to make sure he can get back underneath his tower. Well played from Echotron to keep his Giannis alive there, and Ratatosker will retreat back into the jungle, lurking to find more kills.
Yeah, Flux, he ended up dying really early on in that team for gold, maybe diving just a little bit too far. And as we see here, he's still looking for these aggressive plays by himself. He's going to have to be really careful with his position, because if he catches the 1v1s like he's doing right now into the Anhur, and if he's able to get away here, this is what he needs to be doing. The in and out, catch people alone, and disengage from there. But it looks like the disengage is not going to come easy as they re-engage on them.
Trying to try and look for something. He'll have to use the Through the Cosmos to escape, and now the Hachiman going to have to use his ult as well to get out. Very far forward is this Susanoo looking for kills. The rest of his team is there to back it up, though, so he'll get Marco Polo. The Ratatosker will make it out underneath the tower, and they'll answer back with a kill onto the Giannis. I'm a Monster comes out. Doesn't look like it connects for the second time. Now it's the Scylla in danger. She'll have to retreat back underneath the tower, and the Desert Storm Fury thing coming out is going to chunk down the Cabrakan, and he will die next as everyone disengages. Titan's Bane coming out 1 for 2 there. What is it called? Is it Desert Fury or Desert Storm?
It's Desert Fury, but I mean, Susano's mixed in there. There's probably some hybrid ultimate that they've been working together a little bit with the Storm from Susano in there. So, I mean, Desert Storm Fury honestly sounds a lot cooler to me.
Yeah, we're going to pretend I planned that. That's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, that was kind of an example of what I was talking about before, though, with Flux having to play carefully there because he over-engaged, again, just a little bit. And while he managed to get out a decent ways, this really good pathing by Butter put him behind and allowed him to re-engage both on the Ratatasker and the Hachiman there, picking up 2 kills alongside the Geb ult that came in to help them with that. That's just really sloppy by Waste Management here. A lot of their benefits that they're getting, a lot of their leads that they're getting is catching Titan's Bane alone, but a lot of the fights that they're losing is from being too spread out and over-engaging a little bit too far. So this is what's going to have to be fixed going into this late game by Waste Management, is grouping up and being together as a team better.
And also, I think something that Titan's Bane could be just looking as a weakness for them is identifying that they are losing when it comes to these kind of one-on-one kind of duels or skirmishes or something, just getting caught out on their own. So getting more ward coverage, playing more as a team, I'd like to see that from them, just because that is the one area in which it seems Waste Management is able to claw themselves back into the game here. So the more Titan's Bane can stay grouped, I think the better they'll feel and the better chance they have to walk away with this one.
Yeah, I mean, my teammates are tired of me saying this all the time, but whenever it comes up, I always say it, wards win games. It's just fact. I know that the raw skin says that is a digital skin, but it's the truest voice line in the game, as we see Waste Management here picking up the... Oh wait, Honor stole with Desert Fury!
Desert Fury gonna take away the Gold Fury. Steel coming through from the Anhur there, and he's gonna get locked in by the Odin cage, and he doesn't have leap because he just used it. So that's dangerous for him coming out here. Now jumping out. Oh no, the Ratatosker are going to get locked down and taken out by Butters. And now the majority of Waste Management are kind of out of position. The Cabrakan is very low. He's going to get burned down by the Cerberus coming through here. There are several players extremely low here for Titan's Bane. Geb will fall. One more will fall. The Odin doing work. The Giannis not quite going to go down just yet as the teammates provide enough peel to push this Odin away here, and now the Scylla has to back off because she's extremely low, so I don't think the Odin should stay for too much longer either.
Odin's here mostly just trying to peel for Scylla, who's trying to get on 1 HP. Susano trying to chase him there. Odin probably not going to die. He has enough health and big enough build, far enough into his build to really be that unkillable Odin that we all hate to play against. But that was a really, really scrappy fight on both sides. Geb rotated in, now hitting, his level 12 benchmark for getting a second relic on, also deciding to go with the Phantom. Offers a lot to his backline to get out of the Odin cage there. He used it to help him and Anhur hop out of that cage in order to take part in that fight more. And having both frontliners go with this relic is a really interesting choice. As another interesting choice, Owen decides to jump in, try to steal Pyro, ends up not finding anything. Back sound, nothing happens there. But yeah, the Phantom is a really interesting choice because while it's a good team fight into what Waste Management has, you're taking away potentially the option for a different relic, like a Belt of Frenzy or a Shell. Just doubling down on the same relic there can potentially cause issues later on if the need arises for something else.
Yeah, there's the opportunity cost involved with relics because everybody can only get 2 of them. So the one that you pick means you won't be picking any other ones. So sometimes there is yes, this relic is good, but what am I missing out on that I could be having instead is a question you sometimes have to ask yourself when it comes to these relics, especially the level 12 relics, because the game is kind of shaped out a little bit by then. It's not quite the same. So it'd be interesting to see if they wish they had a Belt of Frenzy, or if they're happy that they have a second way to get out of danger in the event that, because there are a lot of walls that can be thrown up. There's the Odin cage, there's the Kabrakan walls. So it's not useless. It may just be, like you said, something they wish they had something else for to go with.
Yeah, speaking of relics on the other side of things, Gigafoot decides to go with the Belt of Frenzy there, and that's going to offer them a lot of objective burn and team fight burn. If you pop that, the increased damage, and if he gets to upgrade, the increased penetration is going to be what really matters, especially if he gets it onto the Scylla and the Hachiman. They're certainly going to be able to burn down a target like Geb or Cerberus immediately, or secure a Fire Giant faster than Titan's Bane might be able to react if they get that leeway to start it without them being there.
Both teams have grouped up around this Fire Giant. It's time for the Fire Giant dance that we so generally tend to see here. All 5 members are here. There's nobody split pushing or looking anything elsewhere. So this is probably going to erupt in a team fight one way or another. The question is just how that team fight begins and how it's going to end once it breaks out.
Well, Titan's Bane does have 3 different blinks on their side, so they have a lot of options to start this fight out. Right now, it's the moment of time where people are kind of poking and prodding, trying to get relics out, ultimates used, just trying to use up these resources before a fight full-on breaks out. What's really important is how they manage the minion waves in the meantime. We see Susano pushing up that mid wave, while Ratatask pushing up the right side wave. This is going to be really important because if they can get those minions pushed up, if a team fight goes their way, they might have an opportunity to get a tower or 2 and open up a win condition later on into the game.
Ratatask in the back thinks he's being sneaky, but unbeknownst to him, he's standing on 2 wards, so they know exactly where he is, and they're going to use his position to immediately pounce on and blow up 2 of the members for Titan's Bane. Waste Management capitalizing on the indecision through space and time, going to lay down some damage, but nobody dies. The Geb going to get locked down through the Cosmos coming out, going to hit the Susanoo in the mid lane. He's going to get blinked on, and that's a dead Ratatasker. He went from hunter to hunted immediately, and now Waste Management is chasing back underneath the tier 1 tower here, but I don't know if they'll be able to get anybody. The Susanoo going to blink in, try and find something of his own. The burn potentially enough. It will be enough to secure the kill on Kabrakan, and even Susanoo gets away with his life. Now the Giannis in mid lane trying to secure another kill onto the very low health Hachiman. It's just the healthy Odin here for Waste Management as the only one who can really stick around and brawl. He's going to dive underneath the tower. Oh, the very excellent portal. Going to make sure that Giannis gets out alive. The tower falls, but only 2 players are remaining and alive for Waste Management, there are 3 up for Titan's Bane. So they once again take a favorable team fight trade there.
They do end up keeping more members up in that, but they lose a T1 tower, so it kind of evens out. The biggest problem that Waste Management are having in these fights is the Susanoo. Butterskeely? I'm going to say Butterskeely because that sounds better. He is just running circles around Waste Management right now. He is coming and engaging, bursting, blowing up one member of the team, getting out, waiting for his cooldowns to come back up, and just rinsing and repeating. And every single person on Waste Management has been falling victim to that so far in this game, except for Flozart, just Odin things. So you really have to find a way to lock down this Susanoo if you want to be able to hard win a team like they did at the start of that, but continue to keep that aggression and lead going.
It's so hard because the Susanoo tends not to play near his team. As you see, Titan's Bane going to easily clean up this Gold Fury pretty much for free here. Nobody even close for Waste Management. It's hard because, the Susanoo often is not in line of sight or near his team all that much. And so you get somebody from Titan's Bane steps a little bit too far forward, and if you're Waste Management, you think, all right, we can capitalize on this. You lay down your stuns, you throw up a couple of your walls, but then the Susanoo makes his presence known. Uh-oh, gets locked down. He will just make it up into the Cosmos. I don't know if tick damage is there. Doesn't look like it'll be enough to secure the kill. But yeah, then the Susanoo makes his presence known after the team fight's begun, and he just chunks down your backlane. And you don't really want to let the frontliners walk away for free just because your backline's under threat, but you also have a responsibility as a frontliner to kind of peel for your squishies. That's tough.
Speaking of peeling for the squishies, Waste Management actually stealing that Pyromancer away, forcing out Titan's Bane as the Geb was a bit too aggressive there, forcing out the backline for Titan's Bane on threat of being engaged on by the Odin Gabrakan. So really good pushback into the objective to get that Pyromancer the way of Waste Management. As now the Fire Dance starts once more.
Yeah, no Fire Giant actually been taken. We had a fight around it, but it didn't result in any capture of the Fire Giant, just more dancing and more kills. But the Waste Management have the preferable position here. They're very far forward, and the stun comes through onto the Geb. Not going to quite find anything, but huge damage gets flown up onto that Cerberus. He's extremely low health. Now the chase is on. Everybody from Waste Management are chasing their hearts out, but it's actually Marco Polo who goes down. The Anhur going to find a kill on his Hunter counterpart. Over on the other side, the Ratatosker is very low and has been capitalized on by that Susanoo once again. The Bird Bomb coming through, not quite going to find a kill onto this Geb. Locked down for just a minute, but everybody for Waste Management is very low health. Flozart will find a kill, but he will lose his Gabrakan in exchange as well as his own life, and it's just the Scylla remaining. It's a 4-for-1 trade in favor of Titan's Bane. Scylla, they'll probably allow her to escape because they're more interested in taking this now free Fire Giant.
Yeah, you know what happened at the start of that fight there? Once Waste Management pushed up a little bit too far, Susanoo just waltzed into the back line and killed Marco Polo. Goes to leave. Flux tries to chase him out. He loses the 1v1. This Susanoo's making such big impacts in these fights, and Waste Management is not respecting that, or they aren't acknowledging that he is the big problem in these fights enough, as we see Scylla hopping around. Instead of going for the Fire Giant, still trying to get the on her, but I think she's going to end up losing her life. She's not careful here. The Impale, throwing her into the wall, having to use the 3 to escape. This Fire Giant should go the way of Titan's Bane.
Yeah, nobody else. Oh, actually, as I say that, Scylla's trying to come back in. I think this is a bad idea. You're playing with fire here. She's going to get jumped on. The Desert Fury going to come out and secure that kill. Yeah, I don't think that was really the play if you're that Scylla. Now your entire team has essentially a full minute to wait before you're at full strength again. They were almost back up. And now you've lost another minute of strength, full strength team fighting time if you're Waste Management because the decision to go back in there.
Yeah, starting that respawn timer is not great if you're the Scylla. I get you're trying to be a hero and make a good play for your team, because if you end up stealing that Fire Giant, that is a huge boon for you and a huge deficit to Titan's Bane. But deciding to try to go for the on her and not hitting the Sikkim twice in a row, sometimes you have to cut your losses and just back off there. Ends up getting both of her relics taken and her life. Now Titan's Bane has Fire Giant on all 5 members. They're going to start sieging up these towers. Probably going to get all of the towers on the map if they play their cards right. This is going to be really tough for Waste Management to try to come back into now if a fight starts and these respawn timers continue to be staggered.
And you can see that there's these 2 tier 1 towers that are just at a sliver of health for Titan's Bane, and that's essentially 1,000 gold that they can pick up whenever they want. They're going to take 500 of it right now. They can take more if they decide to siege down this tier 2 tower, but I wouldn't be surprised to see every single tower pretty much fall here for Waste Management, and that just catapults Titan's Bane even further into the lead. They're already about 5.5, 6k up, and they have the potential to make it even worse.
Yeah, really interesting build choice coming out by Gigafoot Zero, though, on the Gabrakan there, going into more health than pure protections. He gets the protections from Gauntlet of Thebes and Pridwin, but Relic Dagger doesn't really offer any protections, it's just health and cooldowns. Magi's Cloak has negligible protections that it gives only 15 of each, but he's more going for that passive and more of the health. However, on her building can size. Giannis got Soul Reaver second item, Heartseeker online for Susanoo, so all of that health is being shredded immediately by the backline and jungler by Titan's Bane, and all the protections that he does have are getting taken away by the Cerberus Ghastly Breath. So he's really squishy if you think about it in these fights, how fast he's just been popping.
That's true. He is almost always the one who drops to low health first, not necessarily the first to die, but the team fight results in like Odin goes in, Kabrakan goes in behind him. Oh, all of a sudden Kabrakan's at 10% health. And then it's a panic trying to save him, and that's where the team fight seems to go wrong for Waste Management.
Especially since Waste Management doesn't have any strong peeling characters. Kabrakan can be a strong peel if that's where he is positioned and focused on, but Gigafoot's been playing this very aggressive, trying to initiate with the Kabrakan stuns, leaving his backline completely exposed to butter on the Susano. And Odin, he has some peel potential, but it takes him so long to get that stun up, having to wait 3 ticks, and can get interrupted in the meantime, trying to get his 2 off. His cage, if he uses a cage just to peel the Susano, that's a complete waste of his ultimate. So maybe Gigafoot needs to look to shift gears, instead of being the initiator, be the peeler for his backline to allow them to breathe a bit more in these team fights to potentially have more impact as the game continues.
On the back of these towers falling and the Gold Fury and Fire Giant power play, Titan's Bane are now almost 10,000 gold in the lead. We are nearing the end of item builds, but that gold still matters. That means the item builds will finish faster for Titan's Bane to get those 6 items online just a little bit faster, and that will result in big power spike for them right now. We'll have to see what Waste Management can make happen between now and the next Fire Giant coming up online, because that's really going to be our next point of contention. We probably won't see too much team fighting going on between now and then unless somebody is caught just way out of position somewhere.
I'm going to put a bet in here. Not really a bet, more of a guess. I guess that Susano is going to catch Ratatasker or Scylla out of position and blow them up immediately before the next fight starts. That's my guess for the next big thing to happen in this game. Since he has the Titan's Bane online, his first ability is going to be hitting so hard alongside that Boomba Spear, giving him so much power, especially since he's been farming very effectively all these camps. As soon as he drops one, he has 30 seconds of a huge power spike. Their backline is quaking in their boots on Waste Management if I'm them.
Do you think Titan's Bane gets an added bonus if they build Titan's Bane because it's like brand synergy?
I mean, I used to be on a team called Jabalba Shadows, and I played Jabalba Shadows skin on Kamazots every once in a while, and that seemed to work pretty effectively. So that might be some name recognition going on there, giving them an additional boost.
That's what I think is happening here. I think that's why they're winning. Even though he just picked up Titan's Bane, we're not going to talk about that. As we see the Fire Giant dance coming out here, as we have ever seen before. Fire Giant is going to be up in just a second here. You can see the animation playing. Boom, he's back online. So now this kind of is a little bit the fate of the game in the balance. If Waste Management can get this, that does not give them the game. That puts them back on even ground. If Titan's Bane get this, if they do it alongside a very favorable team fight, 3-4 members down, that's probably just game right there.
Yeah, it really depends on who on Titan's Bane survives if they lose any members in this next fight. Speaking of losing members, the Kabrakan falling very low, trying to get out. The through space and time used alongside the Susano, while now the fight's completely breaking out.
As you see, he's chunked down. He's at low health. He has to run away, and now the panic comes out of them trying to save him. I'm a Monster is good. We'll pick one up on her in a counter kill. The powerful players are very low. The Susano is actually so low. He's been forced out of the fight. So moment of hope here for Waste Management to make something happen without that enemy assassin in the mix. Odin going to go very deep there looking for some kills, but the shield on Geb is just so strong. He can tank that for days. Bird Bomb potentially going to come out here. No, he'll going to turn around, let the disengage go through as the teams end up exchanging 1-for-1. But Susano is back now at full health and looking to punish. And look, there he is. They see the Scylla, maybe looking to punish. He's going to use her 3 to try and get back out to safety. Not quite going to be able to close the gap in time.
The mage burst damage reigned supreme in that fight. On her was, I think, at 3/4 HP, immediately eviscerated by I'm a Monster. He stepped up just a little bit too far. And then on the chase there, Marco Polo gets hit on the side by an unstable vortex and takes him from about 3/4 to barely alive. The Aussie proc allowing him to heal up off those right camps and put him back right about where he was. But that just goes to show this mage damage is not to be trifled with, as Ratatasker now running for his life from the same mage that almost killed his ADC.
He gets caught out. They see him back there, and that is going to mean he has no place trying to invade there. That does mean they abandon the Fire Giant and let it reset. So maybe that's what he's looking for. Maybe that's a small win. Gets them to leave Fire Giant for just a moment. That means Waste Management can get in position to try and contest that. May have been what they were going for. If that's the case, well done on him. So now the Fire Giant does not go away for free. There will be another team fight breaking out before either one of them can take this Fire Giant.
Yeah, a really interesting choice by Marco Polo. Decided to go the Titan's Bane in his 6th item slot instead of something like a Kin Size that'll help him with the frontliners a little bit more. Perhaps he's not so concerned about the damage output they can put on, or the how much damage they can sustain. Is just trying to deal damage to the back line here. So Ratatasker goes up, and I think they're looking to start a fight.
Yeah, you can see the Kabrakan went in, got chunked down to 50% health. They felt the need to save him, so the Ratatosker goes up through the Cosmos trying to look for something. Space and time not quite going to get the kill onto the Ratatosker. He will get away. All of the walls in the world are thrown up into that little choke point there. Everybody amazingly going to walk away from it for the moment until the Ratatosker tries to go back in, gets himself found and punished by the enemy Susanoo. But the Hachiman is there. Maybe that Titan's Bane coming into effect finds the counter kill on the enemy jungler. That means Waste Management have a little bit more breathing room without that assassin in the mix, but the Odin is extremely low, going to use the jump and the blink to try and get himself out to safety. But the portal coming through here from the Giannis not quite going to secure the kill. Continues. He has such low cooldown. He can just bird bomb and leap all day long. He has
no mana though. He can't catch up. He can't keep that chase going. Yeah, that's cooldowns being cooldowns there. And at the end of the day, the person who will reign supreme is the one that continues to have mana. And Odin had mana more than the Giannis there. He had to give up the chase.
It felt like his abilities were just endlessly off of cooldown. I blinked and he was just bird bombing and then leaping repeatedly over and over again.
Yeah, that's Odin. When you get items online on Odin, you're essentially playing infinite cooldown, and it's not fun to play against. It's probably a lot of fun just mashing your face on the keyboard and constantly having shields 100% of the time, but playing against it's very frustrating. Hearing him pop the shield, immediately blowing up the said shield and going, all right, he's vulnerable, and then there's a shield again, and rinse and repeat.
Something we haven't had a chance to take a look at here. Look at the player damage charts right now. The Susanoo ahead in a huge way. Nobody else even close. The next closest is that Odin, but that's generally what we tend to see as he can be so aggressive with his tankiness. The enemy assassin in the Ratatosker nearing the bottom of the charts. That's just how far he's been marginalized so far in this game. Hasn't been able to do much of anything.
Yeah, he's mostly just been able to ult and get relics and then die. It's really, again, kind of showing how the initiation by the frontline Waste Management is not very effective for them. The Kabrakan bottoming out player damage charts, and that's not what you want to see from the person who's mainly initiating on your team. Speaking of initiation, Titan's Bane going on Waste Management.
Blink in there, look for something, but the wall comes out, the pillar coming through. Do the shifting sands going to keep Kabrakan locked down for just a moment. Belt of Frenzy going to come out, but incredibly low health is this Kabrakan. He needs to be very careful about going in. Lots of damage coming out from I'm a Monster, but it's Marco Polo who falls first. Very low health are a couple players on Titan's Bane, but I don't know if the punish is going to be there because the Kabrakan also needs to back. The kill comes through onto the on her, and the chase continues for this Odin, trying to look for what he can get against the very low health retreating members of Titan's Bane. It's the Ratatosker falling in the back of shot, probably going down to that Susanoo. Yep, he does fall down to the Susanoo once again, and that will provide enough peel and space for the rest of the members of Titan's Bane to back and heal themselves up. And incredibly, we still have not had this Fire Giant fall. We're now nearing 40 minutes. This is an EFG at this point, ladies and gentlemen. And now, team fight notwithstanding, the team that gets that EFG will probably be able to walk away with this game. Waste Management, while they were in a tight spot before and they're still very far behind, the EFG is so powerful that if they do manage to pick it up alongside a team wipe, they can win the game right here off this fight. So they are playing for their lives right here. Blink in from this. Gonna try and find something, but I don't know about that. The Odin not quite gonna get what he's looking for. He's like a 1v4 in here all by himself. Fire Giant only about 25% health, and that is a dead Odin. Blink in there all by himself looking for something. A couple players for Titan's Bane will have to back, but I think there's still enough damage here to finish off the Fire Giant. No, they'll leave it and it will reset, and now the Kabrakan's gonna go in trying to find something against this Geb. Throws up the walls, they manage to burst them down and get him away to safety, so no counter kill going to come through here for Waste Management, but they do prevent the Titan from going down once again. Or excuse me, the Fire Giant from going down.
That was just a little bit too aggressive of a call by Titan's Bane. Yet, a lot of these fights, the reason why the Fire Giant hasn't fallen is because every one of these fights has ended with both ADCs dead or at 1 HP. on either side, and without the ADC, you're kind of really depending on the Boomba Spear from your jungler to come into play. And while Susano was doing a lot of damage alongside Giannis on the enhanced Fire Giant, the front line wasn't tanky enough, and they didn't have enough zoning capabilities to keep out the Odin and the Scylla. And Scylla was sitting there by that solo Harpy with ultimate, just waiting for it to get low enough to go for a steal.
And may not have learned his lesson trying to go through to the backline all by himself once again. Manages to escape before getting chunked down to minimal health this time, but the aggression is on from Titan's Bane. They're looking for something through space and time, not going to connect with anything, but they will use it to get the Stygian Torment off. Going to force a lot of beads out for the members of Waste Management. Now they have to counter engage over here against this through the desert sand. Very, very being blown up with a lot of damage coming out from Scylla. That's going to force a couple members of Titan's Bane to back up just a little bit here and look back towards this Fire Giant, as I think Waste Management will not need to back. They have enough healing online that they should be able to re-engage, but a couple of the squishier members need to be careful. Fire Giant down to about 25% HP. Waste Management need to get in here, and they need to come fast. They will lock down and immediately try and blow up this Cerberus over here, and that will force the rest of the members of Titan's Bane to disengage off the Fire Giant. Once again, Odin Cage coming out, going to lock in a couple. Going to jump in there, using the Bird Bomb to lay down significant damage. The Giannis at a very low health, going to have to use a portal to escape. Don't think anyone will be able to finish him off. Pace still coming through, looking for more against this on her. He'll have to use the leap to get away as well. Now we're looking at a bunch of members from Titan's Bane having to retreat, as most of Waste Management are still relatively healthy. They will get a kill eventually onto that Giannis, using it through the Cosmos, I think, from that Ratatoskr, and now the block down and damage coming out from the Kabrakan finally going to get something as they lock down and kill this Geb. That's 2 unanswered kills going the way of Waste Management. They need to get themselves out before this Susanoo can have his way in taking them out. In return, he'll drag the Odin back in and get 1 counter kill. Now cooldown timers are so long, we're looking at 70 seconds before that Odin is going to be back online, but there is still a man advantage up here for Waste Management. I don't know if they'll be able to use that time to get the Fire Giant down, but Titan's Bane, very decisive, going to come over here and take away the Fury while they know Waste Management have to back. I like that call. Free Oni Fury, and then you can still get back over to contest the Fire Giant before a real team fight comes out.
Why don't you take a breath, your voice, when you were you're kind of just scatting at us there for a good 15 seconds straight there. I'm honestly impressed. But yeah, you covered a lot of what I was going to even say about the immediate follow-up of that fight. Titan's Bane just sticks around a little bit too long with a little bit too low of HP bars, and they get punished really hard. A lot of that comes in from how many ultimates were used by Titan's Bane through space and time to initiate onto Waste Management, and a really, really good Kabrakan ult came through and blocked off the continued chase, allowed his team to breathe, and allowed them to re-engage there. So it was a really strong play from Gigafoot, doing exactly what we were saying he needed to do from the start, which was offer his team some breathing room with that peel.
There's just so much happening. My brain was trying to keep, or my
Waste
mouth
Management
was trying
gets
to
fire.
keep up with my brain. Whoa, they do, but that it does mean that they're going to lose the Scylla in exchange, and the Odin wasn't up at the time. They're also going to lose a second, maybe even a third, so that Fire Giant is probably going to mean next to Zip here is, yes, this Kabrakan will go down as well, so only the Ratatoskr are actually going to benefit from the Fire Giant. The only thing Waste Management have going for them is that Titan's Bane didn't get the Fire Giant, but now they're down 3 players, most of which won't be up for 50 whole seconds, and this is going to have to be a Herculean Titan defense here. Even with the Fire Giant on their side, I suppose on one member, this is going to be... yes, you're true. They have Oni waves pushing in. I hadn't even noticed that. Yeah, unless this is some sort of heroics coming out from Waste Management on the back of those 3 members going down, this should be a victory for Titan's Bane.
That was just Waste Management getting a little bit too cocky, trying to go for the Fire Giant with 3 members. They end up getting it, but lose a lot of their teammates in the process. Xaltas falls from the Ratatoskr ult, but not going to be enough. Titan's about half HP. They're actually delaying them quite a bit. The damage is not going on the Titan. Now they are recentered, refocused back up, and Titan will fall. After a long struggle, a big tug of war around that Fire Giant, it goes the way of Waste Management, but then they fall and Titan's Bane surge through and get to the Titan room and end the game.
There was a brief moment there where I started to hope for Waste Management. They are managing to show so much chaos, got a kill and a bit of damage off onto a lot of players from Titan's Bane, but I think Titan's Bane suddenly they just call and we're like, guys, stop fighting. Just focus Titan and we win. So they turn, they burn, they get the Titan, and they finally are your victors. That was an insane back and forth match. Titan's Bane in the lead for most of it, but Waste Management not making it easy on them whatsoever.
Yeah, and this is really this was a very much anybody's game for a lot of that, especially once you hit that late game team fight potential. Where if any team won a team fight heavy-handedly, that was just kind of it. That was game. So if you are Titans Bane here, you feel good because you controlled a lot of that game, but you also understand you have to clean up these late game team fights and have to have stronger and more clean initiation and retreat calls in order to really push that lead further. And if you're Waste Management, your tenacity really showed in this game. You're kind of talking about, okay, we showed that we can fight back into this. We need to make a little bit more clean objective calls and maybe a bit more strong target calls, and maybe go back to the drawing board a little bit on drafts. But overall, really strong showing from both teams.
All right, well, that is going to do it for game one. We're going to throw this one back to the desk. They're going to break that banger of a match or that game down for us before we break for map two. Don't go anywhere because we're throwing it back to Narwallaby and Drummer on the desk.
What an exciting game number one there, Drummer, and congratulations to Voiceless One and Argent Surge for making it through that 44-minute game there. A lot of action going on during that set or that game number one there. Drummer, what really stood out to you in that game?
Well, sure. Like what we said earlier at the pregame, where we were looking at waste management with a much more like they very much indicated they were going for the aggressive plays early game, and they surely did. But props to Titans Bane for just managing that aggression so well. Like you could very clearly this wasn't their first rodeo. Like they knew what they were doing.
Mhm.
They made great calls, and they were able to back up when they needed to. It pushed in when it was appropriate. That Susano just kept coming in, picking off people left and right as soon as they were low or just slightly out of position, just punish them each time.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it there, the Susano, definitely the main factor, in my opinion, as to who would come out on top this game. Coming out with the 14, 2, and 12 slash line, 43k damage, top in the lobby. So really good play coming out from Butterskelly there on that Susano. Again, he went with the all maces build, which we see some uh, both of the junglers do. Um, I think more so a lot of it was due to the fact that the Cabrakan was not able to do enough on a lot of these engages in order to make it seem like a worthwhile pick. So for me personally, if I look at waste management, I'm looking to maybe swap out that Cabrakan with a more meta support going forward.
Yeah, I would say so. That was one of the things, like maybe perhaps this time going around, depending on how scary that Susano was, you have to ban them early, and then
Hmm.
definitely instead of going super aggressive, maybe keep the aggression solo lane. I don't have a problem with that, but perhaps with support, somebody with a little bit more utility. Because yeah, Cabrakan can peel really well, but like Geb does have the shield. He can cleanse the CC off of people, whatever. Perhaps picking maybe a more traditional support with some better utility in there.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely interesting to see where both of these teams go. After a long game like that, it can kind of wear down your mentals going into it. So I believe if we're ready for picks and bans, we can just go ahead and hop right into that and see what these teams try to answer with here coming into game number two. I mean, we mentioned it early. If I'm waste management, I potentially look to ban away this Susano from Titan's Bane, since it was such an impactful pick there in game number one.
Definitely.
But looking like they're going to end up going with the Geb to take that away from Titan's Bane. Titan's Bane did end up first picking that Geb their game one, so not wanting to put up with it again here in game number two. So just going to go ahead and take it off the board and take it away from them. No, I'm not opposed to that ban. Geb has been really strong. You can run him in solo, you can run him in support, and he's just still annoying to deal with.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great one. Because we saw like Susano and Geb both made a pretty big impact on that last game. So that's fine seeing those banned. And Ardio banned from Titans Bane also makes sense. Another classic ban.
Yeah. Sure enough, out
Look at
comes
that.
the respect ban from the Susano. And, after a game like that, there's no real surprise into it. When you come into these game number ones and stuff, you kind of just stick to meta bans. But after a game one like that, you can throw out the respect bans and just go ahead and get rid of them. Titans Bane, doing the same. They're taking away the Odin from Waste Management. Odin, one of the stars in my mind from Waste Management side, coming out of that solo lane there in game number one. So got a couple more bans here to go. A lot of mid laners are still on the board. All the mages still available as Uller gets banned out here from Waste Management.
This is looking interesting. No, if I were on the side of Waste Management, I would say now you have to pick like that meta ban, right? Tiamat, Hell maybe, but because mid lane's just wide open at this point.
hmm
Okay, and then Titans Ban's gonna ban the Tiamat.
Yeah, going ahead and taking away that top option there in the mid lane. You mentioned it, Hell still available. We didn't really get a chance to see her picked up or banned there in game number one, but hovering the Artemis here is Waste Management. Kind of interesting. I feel like Artemis has kind of fallen slightly out of the meta with some of the nerfs to the bow build, as now the stereotypical hunters ruin everything. So they just start going all the maces now too, and trying to be more ability based. But they are going to end up locking this in for the first overall pick here.
Yeah, sure. Artemis, I mean, another is a pretty good hunter, but like you said, like the ability hunters are kind of shining a lot more recently. Looks like they're hovering over the on her again. Yeah, why not? On her's been doing very well, did well for them last game, so why not keep it going?
Yeah, looking like Titans Bane going to run back their two carries there from game number one. Um, both of the carries there both kind of got overshadowed by what the Susano did uh, coming out of that game. But both of the Giannis and the on her both had pretty solid performances uh, in and of themselves. So to able to get those back up on your team here for game number two is always a good look. But Cerberus and Hell being hovered here for Waste Management. If these get locked in, Hell is going to be really strong coming into the mid lane. She did get a slight nerf this patch, but I don't think it's really been enough to greatly hinder her. And with Odin already banned out and you picking up Cerberus there for Waste Management, taking away a couple of the counter picks to Hell coming into game two here.
Yeah, why not, right? I guess if you're worried about the passive anti-heal from Cerberus, just go ahead and pick him, right? Uh, Looking like a Hunbats, but that's a fun one. I haven't seen Hunbats too recently, but still really, really good ultimate. So his engage is going to be really strong.
Yeah, Hoonbat's one of the the main team fight ultimates. When you think of team fight ultimates coming out of the jungle, Hoonbats is probably the top of that leaderboard. And plus, he also again he does well with the current jungle items as they stand. But coming into the phase two of bans here, what are you looking to take away from either Waste Management or Titan the Bane here?
Well, it looks like Titans Bane went with a banning in the Wheelix, which is well, that sort of makes sense. Both Hunbats and Honor have leaps, so if the ultimate from Wheelix definitely counters those. I think you're looking to ban junglers is good because the Waste Management hasn't picked a jungler yet. Waste Management probably looking to ban out supports and solo laners, and they just went with the Yamoja, which is yeah, pretty good choice, but leaves leaves a good amount open. But we'll have to see what Titans Bane goes with.
Yeah, say Waste Management coming out saying that we want to be the only ones that have a healer on our team, taking away that Emoja. But Kepri getting banned out as well from Titan's Bane, not wanting Waste Management to have all the healing and a revive on top of it. So good ban from them coming out. Kepri's kind of one of those picks that gets kind of slept on, but if you end up picking it up, you really want to look at those executes, but sometimes they just don't really feel that great. As Sylvanas again getting banned away by Waste Management, doubling up on their support bans here in phase two.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I think because yeah, like they're just looking for solo and support. Looks like they're hovering a Sobek, so that again at this point that could be a solo or a support. Depends on
Yeah,
what we're seeing.
yeah. I mean, if I'm Titans Bane, I'm throwing Sobek into the support role. Sobek on her is one of the classic kill lanes when it comes over there to the duo lane. Both of them just exude large amounts of pressure. Which if you're looking for pressure and looking to kind of snowball yourself in this meta, those two are really good options to go. As we see Terra and Osiris getting hovered here. Um, Terra kind of hovering around that is she good? Is she not good? She kind of like that B to A tier. He kind of needs a little bit of help on her team. But what do you think of these two picks here?
The Osiris, yeah, is looking like maybe an Osiris in the jungle because I could see Cerberus
Yeah.
solo Terra support. I'm not sure. I feel picking up that Terra right after a Sobek. He does have the anti-heal built into his Sickening Strike, so that's now two characters that are hindered by that one ability. And then add on any other anti-heal items and things that you're going to get. That's going to make it kind of rough for the healing in those team fights. Looks like they're having Ganesh, which is not bad. Good objective secure with his ultimate. But oh no, going Cirquet. Oh, okay.
Interesting. Okay, so this might be a Sobek solo and Circuit support coming out. If I
Perhaps.
had to guess, I think that's the quote unquote obvious choice is to throw Circuit into the support role since you already have that Hunbats. But one thing I'll point out is both of these carries are going to have a pretty difficult time of applying anti-heal. Giannis has typically been not a great applier of Divine Ruin. You're not really looking at. I mean, Anher's probably going to pick up the Brawler's Beat Stick, since they can go the Maces now as well as the Hunbats. But Anher not going to be able to apply that nearly as well. Hunbats is going to be a good application here, but I'm worried that Waste Management is just going to be able to out heal a bunch of the damage coming out from Titan's Bane.
Yeah, that's quite possible because you're right. Like on her, if he's going to pick up Titan's Bane, he only has his leap technically can apply it, but again, if you're leaping in to engage to apply anti-heal, you're taking that option away as an escape. His impale hits only one person, so that's going to only apply it to one. Same thing with Yanis, it's kind of difficult. You can get his abilities to hit more than one person, but it's kind of difficult sometimes. You have to really line those up. Um,
Yeah, for sure. But we won't waste any more time here after that long game number one. Let's see if they can pick up the pace here in game number two. But we're going to send it over to Voiceless One and Argent Surge to bring you the action.
Thank you very much, Narwallaby and Drummer. We're back in game two between Waste Management and Titan's Bane. This is the Voiceless One. I'm joined by Argent Surge. We're having a great time casting this epic set. That last game was a banger. Hoping game two will be just as exciting. What do you think about these comps, Argent?
This is going to be a very interesting way to play if you're Titan's Bane, because while Waste Management has so much healing on their side with the Cerberus, the Hell, and the Terra all offering healing for them, and you only have, I mean, I guess the Sobek that does kind of cancel out some healing. Hunbots will probably end up going a Brawler's Beat Stick, but your main anti-heal is the Circuit here, but that's only one target, so it's really going to be how effective Circuit can be in these team fights. If Circuit can continuously ult on top of the Hell, deny her healing whatsoever, and they blow up the Hell, Titan's Bane will be feeling very strong about their team fights. Whereas Waste Management, they have the stronger ability to team fight with the Terra ultimate into the Tusky, into the Stygian Torment, and then Osiris just exists, hitting everybody at once. It's going to be hard to fight into them if they don't get these picks.
I really like this comp from Waste Management. You can tell exactly what they're going for in a team fight. Oh, very close to going down there. That Circuit, there's a little bit of a chase going on. Not quite going to find it, though. Yeah, I really like the team comp from Waste Management because you can tell exactly what they want to do, but also with the build that Titan's Bane have, it's going to be kind of tough to stop them. So it's like, yeah, you can know what we're doing. We're going to do it anyway. We'll still beat you with it, but you can know.
Yeah, especially with the amount of pressure that Waste Management have drafted in this dual lane. They drafted pressure last game, weren't able to really punish too much or force too much with it. But this time around, they have a lot more available to them. Circuit actually forcing out Marco Polo's beads really early. That's not good for them. Transgressor's Fate might end up trapping beyond her, not on cooldown though. But yeah, that kind of goes to show that they are willing to fight, and as soon as they hit this level 4, level 5 point in time, Titan's Bane's going to really have to play carefully around the ultimates that the dual lane brings.
It's going to be an interesting one, and I think much like last game, we're going to want to keep an eye on that dual lane for a lot of it because There doesn't seem to be any shortage of aggression going on there. Both of them seem more than happy to fight. This isn't the usual farm minions until 10 kind of fight we see here. This is a big deal. So they seem to be willing to trade lives pretty easily. Looks like maybe the farm coming out in favor of Waste Management just ever so slightly. You can see their waves, when they clash, do tend to push up just a little bit farther. Maybe that turns into something later on. Maybe it doesn't. We'll have to see how that ends up playing out. Backing up now, are most of Waste Management going to take some of those buffs once again? Got the speed buff coming back online, purple buff coming back online soon, support buff taken by that Hell there. She'll take red buff, and then probably go back into mid lane. That's just standard things. This is what we see around 2 minutes.
Yeah, and what really is going to be kind of seeing how Waste Management can set the pace is in the jungle. As Hoonbots, he is not a strong jungler until he hits level 5. That Fear No Evil is such a strong teamfight ability, but before that point of time, he's not able to really do too much. Yeah, he has some damage, but he has a very high mana cost for his abilities. His cooldowns aren't the best right away until he gets items online. He's going to be struggling to have the same amount of impact that Osiris can make off the get-go, especially with this Mannequin Scepter that he decides to go instead of the now shoehorned in Roomba's Dagger that a lot of junglers are going.
Yeah. I honestly kind of like the Mannequin Scepter just a little bit better, especially for the Osiris, just because it plays into his strengths just a little bit more, I feel like, as a jungler. And I do think that in a head-to-head outside of, very late game, that Osiris does come away with the victory here in a straight-up 1v1 duel between him and Hunbats. I like the Osiris better.
Yeah, especially since Osiris decided to go that beads, it really offers him a lot of safety. Where the only real CC that Hoonbots has in that 1v1 can just be nullified by the beads. It really is going to put him into a tough spot if they catch each other in the jungle at any point in time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Ooh, gank coming through here in the mid lane, trying to find something against this Hell. She uses the heal immediately, but that won't be enough to get her out safely. She will go down. Gank successful for Titan's Bane, and they pick up first blood on the Hell in mid lane.
Yep, that's just a lack of wards. Hoonbots is able to swing all the way around behind him on the low right entrance into mid there. Places the ult behind him so he has no real safe way to go. Gets forced into the Giannis. Ends up using the Giannis through space and time in order to confirm that kill there. And also ends up using both Hoonbots and Circuit blinks. So there's still cost to getting the kill on the Hell there. The Hell ends up using her beads, though it doesn't save her life. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Waste Management kind of decides to counterpunch, if they counterpunch at all during this, because Circuit got the kill credit, goes to support, not that big of a deal. But if they can continue to get this Hell now that she doesn't have beads, there's going to be a large deficit in mid that they're going to have to handle very soon.
Yeah, it's almost a circumstance where Waste Management their coordination and their comp is so set up for team fights and for late game that as long as they don't fall drastically behind in the first section of the game, the early to mid game here, they're still looking great for the end just because of how strong they can team fight later on. So I think there's probably pressure on Titan's Bane to continue to make plays like that because you know that hyper late game, the Tusky, the Artemis Burn, the Hell, all of these things spell very quick death for all of you if you are Titan's Bane.
Yeah, we see that Circuit gank being sniffed out there by the wards by Waste Management.
Tries to try it twice. Not quite going to get what he was looking for, especially if he gets rooted by the Terra. Hell going to play down some damage, but it's actually the Circuit putting down big damage onto this Hell. She'll have to heal, but that won't be enough. Circuit pick up the second kill of the game on that support. Now the chase is gone, trying to find some of these lower health members. Osiris coming through here, going to try and find something against the Hunbats. He throws down the Fear No Evil, trying to create some space. Won't quite be enough. He will go down, but his teammates will confirm the kill onto the Osiris, so not entirely lost there. Now just the Terra remaining in the local area for Waste Management, so that's a 1-for-2 trade coming out for Titan's Bane. They'll take that.
Yeah, that was just a really weird engagement choice by Waste Management to try to fight there. Gigafoot steps in, uses the Terra ult right away. Hell doesn't exactly have the best way of proccing the Terra ult. You have to hit somebody 3 times in order to even get that to actually proc the damage for it, and Hell is just usually a lot of burst damage and single target besides her actual AoE. 3 ability, only one of which does damage. So really interesting choice there. On her managing to jump the Tusky for a moment, delaying it. That 1v1 should go the way of Marco Polo. Alas, the last few autos don't hit.
I feel like you go back in. You can totally win that if you're Artemis.
Yeah, on the hunt, but Cirquet was supposed showing
Oh,
up
that's
boards
true.
waist high.
Yes, he probably did. I think Cirquet was noticed, and that's why he didn't go back in. It's because he knew it would result in his own death.
Echotron not having the ult decide. Oh, it just came back up. If he sat there a little bit longer, maybe Marco Polo would have walked back into that to get ganked. But yeah, back to what I was saying before, though, the health is not the best to actually proc the Terra damage, so it's kind of an awkward engagement off of that. Terra ends up taking the Circuit ult instead of the Hell, which is good for them, but Hell still falls anyways. Then Osiris comes in, has a really good opportunity if he uses his Lord of the Afterlife to jump in onto the Hoon bots and the Circuit, or sorry, the Giannis and the Circuit. He would have gotten probably a double kill from that, but decides to hold on to it, ends up getting the trade on the Hoon bots, but ends up forcing his beads before he can do that. Just a really weird, awkward engagement for Waste Management. They needed to kind of maybe think about grouping up a bit more together before trying to do initiation like that in the future.
And I think you can kind of see that happening here. You can see that the Terra and the Osiris are both prioritizing this mid lane very heavily, while Solo and Duo have kind of just been left alone to handle themselves at this point. Because I think they do recognize the potential coming out with these consistent ganks. That's the second time in like 2 minutes that the Circuit has tried to go for a gank here in the mid lane. So I think Waste Management are right to identify that and just park your support and your jungler right here to support your mid laner because these consistent ganks.
Yeah, I know we were talking last game about how Gigafoot needs to be playing more of a Peely type support a lot of the time here. As actually, speaking of Peel, Hal needs a lot of it. Last breath getting put on her. Looks like she's actually going to survive this time, though, as the bowling continues in mid. I don't see anything else really coming of this unless Toonbot decides to come in and blink.
2 ults were burned there for Titan's Bane that won't be up for a while, so nothing used by Waste Management for the time being, so they do have the ability to make something happen if they're very careful and aggressive in the next couple minutes here. So, be interesting to see if they can take advantage of that. We'll have to see how that ends up playing out. Just taking a look for the first time in the game at the builds. We haven't had a chance. There's been so much aggression and action. I haven't even really seen what's going on. Anything weird stick out to you? Anything you really like? Anything you really don't like in these builds?
I know I talked about the Doom Orb first item on the Scylla last game. Ryzen decides to go Doom Orb again. However, Hell, a lot more traditional Doom Orb mage to go. That movement speed's so helpful for her to just get around, get in and out of team fights on. And right now she's really needing that movement speed to survive because of how hard she's getting dove on. So I think that's a really strong pickup. If I am her, though, I don't go into a penetration or damage item next. I go directly into the Breastplate of Valor. You need that physical defense to keep you alive here because of how much presence is being put on your survival. You need to make sure you have an item to help you supplement that until your Terra can really help you peel. Speaking of peel, Marco Polo not getting any. On her getting the 1v1 kill.
That's a solo kill coming out for Zaltazarius. Yeah, that's a mouthful of a name. Yeah, he will get the kill onto the enemy Artemis right there, and that will confirm him up in that lane. Now have about a level lead over his counterpart in the enemy Artemis. She'll be back online fairly quickly as death timers are still low, but sort of thing you want to avoid, especially as the game can snowball quickly if your damage dealers start to fall too far behind. We'll have to see if Marco Polo can play a little bit more carefully. He's been doing a solid job so far. Sometimes just doesn't go your way, so it is the way it is. It looks like both teams starting a group around this Gold Fury. Titan's Bane heavily prioritizing the 5th member now on his way over from the solo lane. Both teams all over the place here, and the dive comes in. Cerberus looking for something against the retreating on her. Won't be able to quite get it, but the rest of the team is here to support. They'll chase even further. Stygian Torment going to come out, drag a couple players back in, and they will get blown up immediately. That is the deadest Hunbats I've ever seen. He's immediately going to die, and now the chase is on, going underneath the tier 2 tower. Marco Polo off screen going to find the kill onto the Circuit, and through the portal even. The Osiris tick damage will eventually get the kill onto the Giannis. All 5 players for Waste Management still up. They will rotate backwards, happy with their 3 kills, get some healing off, and take down that Gold Fury that they had their eyes on.
Yeah, that was a really actually there you saw the Terror Ultimate actually able to take effect as the Stygian Torrent lifted up and threw 2 people directly into Ryzen's mouth. That that Hell 2 that or sorry Hell 3 that popped there on the Dark Impulse side, that blew up 2 members of Titan's Bane immediately. Ends up killing Butters on the Hoon bots, getting Serket very, very low, having to force her out there. If you can get those Terra Ultimate procs, that is a huge boon for you in these team fights. But even bigger boon might be this Pyromancer going the way of Titan's Bane.
It felt like it was like 100-0. I think Hoonbots had taken a little bit of damage, but not all that much. And it felt like he just went 100-0. Ooh, Blink coming through here, the space and time. Oh, not quite going to get what he was looking for. Sorry, not the space and time. He didn't end up using his ultimate. Will put a little bit of damage, but both players will disengage. Most of the fighting is over here between these tier 1 and tier 2 towers in jungle. Incredibly, all the players still relatively healthy. The sustain for that hell here, making sure that everybody still has lots of health. Terra going to drop her pillar, trying to give herself a little bit of extra health here. Even more healing being thrown down. I think this Terra is not very long for this world, though. She's locked in, very low health. Incredibly still alive, but eventually going to get taken down, and now the target of aggression is this hell. She will also fall, but in return, the Osiris jungle going to find a kill onto the Hunbats once again. He's been marginalized in a big way the last couple minutes. Now potentially looking to chase a little bit more. No, they're going to back up and disengage. Still too early to realistically take that Fire Giant, I think, here, if you're Titan's Bane. So probably just going to disengage, claim camps, claim scorpions, get a little bit more farm off, maybe back up and spend the gold they managed to gain. And you can see, we were very scared of this Serket, but she has been sidelined in a pretty big way. A level and a half, maybe closing in on 2 levels down on her fellow support in the Terra here. And that's not really where you'd like to be. The Serket wants to get in and deal lots of damage. You want to be as dangerous as possible.
At the same time, though, this Serket, every single person that she's essentially hit with her Cobra's Kiss there, or Last Breath there, has effectively died. Ends up using it on Gigafoot there. Gigafoot has the patience to wait out that tick damage before popping his ultimate, getting the healing, keeping him alive a little bit longer. But I feel like even though Terra has this level advantage, it's going to be lost very quickly if Gigafoot doesn't figure out the positioning soon, because he keeps playing very, very aggressively and getting punished for it. If he plays a little bit farther back, focuses more on peel, only steps forward to ult, and then backs up to continue to peel for his backline, not only will he be a lot happier because he will be alive, his hell will be a lot happier because they suddenly have a lot more peel than they've had a lot in the past few fights.
I totally agree there. Gonna have to watch out for that. Most of the rest of the players on both teams are relatively even. Lead pretty much non-existent as well, even though kill lead in favor of Titan's Bane. Waste Management slightly ahead, about 1.5k in the lead. Not enough to be super impactful as we approach the mid game here, but worth considering. Maybe just having superior farm, superior camp control, things like that. I think the sustain from all 3 of those healers is really helping them in a big way, because they only really need to back when they have gold to spend, because they could just stay in lane forever.
Yeah, and that's going to be really big. Whenever they do back, they're going to have such a huge power spike from it, and that's going to be a really interesting thing to see when they rotate into these fights, how much that's going to actually affect them through it. But the one thing I also want to kind of mention here is this duo lane side, the ADCs, neither person has really a strong lead here, but the Anhur has been rotating more effectively than Marco Polo has. Marco Polo got the T1 tower, but rotated super late, ends up losing 2 of his teammates as they dive, as Titan's Bane dives their speed buff. As we see actually a 1v1 happening between the 2 ADCs now.
Tusky going to confirm the kill. The CC immunity makes sure that he's not stunned for too long, but he will get the kill. Marco Polo coming out ahead in the dual lane. Now a big fight taking place in the mid lane underneath the tier 1 tower. Lots of players for Waste Management dropping a little bit low, but they have healed for days. That's the point of their comp. The Cerberus going in even deeper, pushing everybody back all the way underneath their tier 1 tower. Stygian Torment going to pick one up, drag him back in. He won't be quite blown up because he's a tankery Sobek. But the Serket will die in exchange underneath the tier 1 tower. They're chasing even further. Going to get one more. Sobek now going to fall. There's only 2 remaining here in the vicinity for Titan's Bane, as all 3 members that had previously fallen are still stuck in the grayscale, and everybody's still alive for Waste Management. They'll take that tier 1 tower in mid lane, probably rotate. I could see them taking away some camps, maybe taking away this tier 1 tower in solo lane as well. But although Actually, it looks like they're going to rotate over and take the Fury, as that is going to be up here in just a minute. I don't hate that call either. That's fair.
Zelta is around somewhat. They do have aggressive wards by Waste Management. Probably will catch him, try to rotate in. Yeah, he's going to go for the Scorpion instead. I was going to say he did have ult. Could potentially look to contest, but instead has to just jump away as the Osiris is zoning really far up there. Through space and time, a little bit too early. It looks like Titans Bane doesn't want to give this up for free.
I think they were using the first space and time as a movement ability, less as a damage ability, trying to get their team in position to contest this. It's not going to work. They will lose out on their Gold Fury, or the Oni Fury, excuse me, and that will then mean that everybody going to have to disengage. Zeltari is going to drop on the backline. That Osiris wreaking havoc, also going to get a lot of damage onto the Giannis. He will fall and nearly put the Hunbats into the ground as well. Very low health is this Circuit. She'll be forced to back up. And like we keep saying, these guys don't have to back. Yeah, there's 3 of them in the yellow, but they have sustain for days. That hell will just keep popping heals, and they can stay. They can rotate over. They can take this Pyromancer, maybe even the Fire Giant as well, and then back after that to spend like 3,000 gold at once.
Yeah, let's go down the Fire Giant. We're only 17 minutes in the game here. Let's not get too crazy now. I mean, Titans Bane did go into that very staggered and got punished for coming in too staggered, and if they decide to contest the Fire Giant there, they would also be coming in staggered, but I think they might need a little bit more items online to really get any effective Fire Giant pushes done if they were to take the Fire Giant there. I do kind of want to see the player damage output, though, on Waste Management side, because I feel as though, yeah, the Hell is only middle of the pack, only about 7.5k damage, but her burst potential there, you saw before they went to the gold there, how she killed the Circuit, the tank Circuit, from about just over half HP with one ability under that tower there. So this damage is not to be scoffed at. They're just having less opportunities to really have it go, and this is really showing that they don't need to be out damaging Titans Bane that much. They just need to be out sustaining them. And if they can keep that sustain up, they can just back up, re-heal, and then re-engage. They don't need to be completely blowing Titans Bane out of the water with the damage, because Titans Bane doesn't have the same amount of sustain that Waste Management does.
Absolutely. It's not important that they out damage anybody. 9,000 healing, 1,000 healing, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's pretty much the state of the game right now. It's not important that Waste Management do the most damage in the game, because they don't need to. They just need to live long enough to burn down Titans Bane, because Titans Bane cannot compete in any way, shape, or form in terms of sustain and staying in a team fight for as long.
Yeah, I think that the healing combined with the Terra and the Hell there have completely nullified the Hunbats' total damage so far. So essentially, they are negating one entire, sorry, the Giannis' entire damage, even if you want to go up to the 10k mark. So they're essentially eliminating one of the main damage dealers from Titans Bane's existence just by having that damage be nullified in these fights.
Obviously, it's not quite that simple, but it works that way, and in the math, because as fights extend longer and as the game extends longer, this sustain will come to mean more and more.
Yeah, as we see kind of an early Fire Dance starting. This was the state of the game about, 30 minutes in last game, during game 1, 30, 35 minutes, this kind of posturing around Fire Giant, waiting for someone to step up. But Waste Management really feeling their aggression right now, really feeling the ability to step up into these fights. I'm really interested to see where the next fight starts. It might be starting on the solo side here, as Terra's scrapping a little bit with the Hunbats, but just a passing glance, they'll go their separate ways.
I like it. I really appreciate aggression in teams that can make quick, decisive calls, like this Fire Giant call. They recognize that they've gained some space. They're going to start to pull it, and they'll say, look, either you step up and fight us, or we're going to take it for free. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. Big Blink coming in here, trying to find something on this Circuit, but she will be immediately blown up. And now the frontliner out for the side of Waste Management. He's fine. Gigafoot Zero can stand wherever he wants. He's a Titan, and now he's got backup from Flux as well. So he's going to keep everybody huddled underneath their tier 2 tower like just scared children. 2 players from Waste Management can zone back 4 players from Titans Bane and leave their damage dealers to just calmly take down Fire Giant.
If they get vision on this Fire Giant, though, Waste Management might be in trouble, because they are not able to burn this very fast. They only have Artemis really dealing a lot of damage, as we see Titans Bane go look for the reinitiation to push him off.
They will go in there. Very low health are a couple players from Waste Management, immediately going to die. is the Marco Polo. Wow, everybody! Holy cow! 3 people immediately dying on both sides. Flozart extremely low as well. Maybe able to get out, but he's actually turning and burning extra damage. Going to be a 3-for-1 trade, incredibly coming out here for Titan's Bane. Such low health were both Flux and Flozart that I thought for sure both of them were going to die, but the sustain coming in there, keeping them alive, it's so clutch. Once again, they're very low thanks to that Giannis, but he'll use a portal to blink himself out of trouble. Going back in even further, this fight's been going on for so long that the Circuit that died at the beginning is already back from respawn. Tick damage will finally be enough to get the kill onto Flux, and that will mean that Flozar is next on the list. Extremely low, he will go down to the Giannis that is re-engaged as well. So this fight has lasted so long that the low health players are starting to finally go down. Giannis will go down as well, and now it's just this Hell and this Terra here trying to punish the Circuit that is pushed up so far on her own. I think disengage will finally happen as providing some space. Yeah, that will make sure that the Hell can get back.
So much chaos happened so quickly during that all 3 members that died at the start of the fight were able to respawn, and you see they're already halfway back towards the Fire Giant before this fight's really truly stopped happening, as we see the supports now kind of sparring each other there. But that was Waste Management staying a little bit too long trying to hunt down the Giannis that they had vision on, and allowed Echotron to rotate in. And if you're 1 HP, it doesn't matter if they're like a full tank support Circuit. It's still a Circuit. She can kill you and your teammates with that last breath spreading there. Ends up killing Osiris, spreading it onto the Cerberus, bringing him to 1 HP, denying the Hell from healing him up there. And Giannis is able to come in and clean up that kill before falling himself. But it's just, this is really turning into a boxing match where Titan's Bane doesn't want to give up anything for free, but at the same time, they don't have enough to really stand there and go blow to blow with Waste Management sustain. So they need to figure out some way to not have Echotron die right at the start of fights to have that ultimate be more effective during these team fights.
I definitely feel like that long extended slugfest did favor Titan's Bane because it helped them even up the difference in terms of XP and gold, and it denied the Fire Giant that Waste Management were looking for. So I think that was a victory in their books. Well played from them, and if they can keep that sort of thing up, they may be able to pull this game back to an even state before a Fire Giant goes down. As it looks like the pull will come through on this Fire Giant once again, but Titan's Bane, like you said, not wanting to give it up for free, are still very much remaining in the vicinity, trying to brawl it out, gain some space enough to contest this.
Looks like Waste Management's learned a little bit from last time not to stand in the Fire Giant while they're contesting, looking to drop and looking for the fight here. It seems as though Hell keeps stepping in and out of the fire ring, though, going to take a lot of pick from that. She keeps doing it.
Down to about 25% health before they disengage from the Fire Giant, and whoa, off screen, Flux going to just murder Butters as the Hunbats drops to the Osiris once again. The teamfight has now begun. Terra going to lock everybody down in the middle of her ring there. That's going to force a dash away from the Circuit. Over here in the solo lane, they're throwing huge amounts of damage onto this Giannis, who's desperately trying to retreat, but he has nowhere to go. That is a dead damage dealing mage from Titan's Bane. Now it's 2-0 so far in this exchange. The sustain from the Hell going to make sure that these lowish health players on Waste Management are healthy enough immediately that they can start taking this Fire Giant. And if Titan's Bane try to come back in and contest this, I think there will be more of them falling.
Yeah, the only person really a contestant ultimate here is on her, and as you can see, Flozar is not about to let him walk in at any time this game, as if he can help it. So big, really getting out
front lighters denying the back there. They're not going to let them back quite so easily. That will buy a little bit more time and allow the Fire Giant to go down. Oh no! They'll get the Fire Giant, but they'll lose Gigafoot Zero, which means he won't get the buff when he respawns, as well as being down for 40 seconds. That is, that hurts. It's a win. Make no mistake, this is still a win for Waste Management, but the damage is mitigated by that mistake there.
Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier about how with the Hell, they don't have a lot of burn. Like, they have Artemis, but they don't have anybody else to really burn the Fire Giant. Osiris would be the next best person to burn that down, but if he's being relegated to zoning duties, he's not putting any damage down on Fire Giant, and that just took too long. The sustain is not enough, as Fire Giant's going to keep hitting you over and over and over. It doesn't care about your cooldowns. It's just going to keep swinging, and Gigafoot ends up feeling that there. So maybe looking for the next Fire Giant, looking to try to have Osiris there to help out with that, and letting Flozart zone alone, especially if they only have to zone the one real chokehold that they had there by the blue buff. You don't need to have 2 people staying there. 1 would do enough. So maybe making that adjustment would help keep the support alive in the long run.
I even think you could have 2 standing there and just let your zoners be Flozart and Gigafoot Zero. Flux is tanky enough that he can provide the damage they need, as well as being the one to tank Fire Giant for quite some time. So if they did decide to go for a 3-2 split, they could even split it up like that. I think that's preferable to the way we saw it go down just now.
Doesn't Fire Giant do physical damage though? I thought it was. I don't remember if it's physical or if it's magical. But if it's physical, then the Flux. I mean, all of Flux's defense, that's coming in from the Shoguns, and that's all magical prots there. I mean, I guess you get some from Mannequin's mace, but it won't be as effective. You really be kind of banking on just his health pool there to really keep him alive.
I suppose maybe if you just burned him down fast enough, it's tough to say. You're right, they don't have too much burn, so he may be tanking that for longer than they would like. I don't know. It's something we'll have to see if we take into account as Fire Giant comes back up again, if we even make it that long. Whoa! We may not make it that long. Very aggressive. All of a sudden, Waste Management want to brawl. They're going to take down immediately the front line for Titan's Bane. That is a super dead Sobek, and now they're going to rotate around, probably clear up the rest of these towers. To be honest, trying to push a lane all the way over in right side. They may have identified that he's not there. May be interested in pushing in and immediately starting a fight around this Phoenix. They do. He backs just in time to be here, but it's still a 4 versus 5. They dash in. Yonher going to have to use the leap away. Phoenix down to about 50% health. The shred coming through from this Cerberus going to find tons of damage. They'll get the Phoenix and they'll back away. Probably rotate over, try and take this tower, maybe even right side Phoenix as well. They're determined to take every inch of territory and every amount of gold they can get off the back of this Fire Giant win.
Yeah, and look at Waste Management's relics. Besides the 2 blinks that they use there, they have all of their relics still available. Most of their ults are up or coming back online very soon. They don't really have anything to fear here. They aren't getting their defensive relics forced whatsoever by Titan's Bane. We saw that evident in the 1v1 between the Osiris and the Hunbots. Osiris ended up killing the Hunbots from 100 to 0 before Hunbots can even get his ultimate out, and so he was able to hold on to his B that entire time. Butters was really a huge threat in game number 1. In this game, he's finding a lot less success, and that has partially to do with the fact that Waste Management had acknowledged that he was a threat game 1 and have sent Flux to actively search him out and keep him outside of rotating into these fights, unlike how he was free to do so during game number 1.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a good adjustment from Waste Management. They recognized what chewed them to pieces in game 1, and they're like, all right, Flux, you are on jungler duty. All your entire job in this game is to find the enemy jungler and kill him before he does anything obnoxious. And he has performed that job to perfection. Hunbat's relegated 1-5-5 Slashline had a very tough game here, as we did see Titan's Bane capitalizing on the back from Waste Management, going to take that Fury. But Waste Management, with a ton of gold off the back of all the fighting they've done recently, are pretty much finishing almost all their builds. A couple of them still waiting on a little bit more to go. For instance, the Hell in the mid lane, still only on her 5th item, but just about finishing off their builds, getting very scary in comparison to a lot of the members from Titan's Bane using that gold lead to make themselves very fearsome to fight against.
Yeah, and part of what slowed down her build, why she's only now finishing her Obsidian Shard, is because she decided to go that Mantle of Discord. There, we were saying that she needs to have a defensive item to stay alive, and she decided to go Rod to Tahuti, the 2nd item, but ends up going the Mantle of Discord 3rd. And since she's gotten that online, I don't think she's died a single time. Just the amount of defense that gives her, amount of safety gives her, it ends up giving her essentially an extra cleanse once she hits a certain health level. CC immunity, cleanses whatever CC she has on her, and also gives her a stun in any enemies around her. It offers her so much self-sustaining peel that she doesn't need Gigafoot on her as much as she might have had earlier in the game, because that peel isn't as necessary anymore. She has it herself.
That also frees Gigafoot up to play a little bit more conservatively, allowing him to be where he needs to be to provide healing without necessarily having to just kind of babysit that health, which I think has allowed Gigafoot to die a lot less as the game has gone on. We saw him get caught out a couple times early game, but since then has been absolutely flawless, and I think that's partly to do with the fact that the Hell has been able to be so safe because of that purchase.
Yeah, we see another 1v1 potential starting out. Hunbat's trying to be a little bit annoying, ends up taking Flux down to about half before having to jump away, realizing that besides just being an annoyance, right now he has 0 ability to actually fight into the massive lead that Waste Management has now offered. Pushing that lead, now they've started to fight.
Stygian Torment coming out, all going to get cleansed away, but that burns a lot of different beads here. Flux up in front, trying to bully all the members of Titan's Bane away. He'll get the Circat first, and then turn his attention to the unfortunately leaping Hunbats. He'll die. That's going to be a dead Sobek, and then on top of that, the extremely low health on her is going to have to back to keep himself alive. And now, with all 5 members able to focus, oh, excuse me, there is a Cerberus zoning all the way up by Tier 1 tower, but 4 members of Waste Management able to focus this Titan. It's going to fall much faster this time. They don't lose somebody in the process. That is an EFG. Sorry, I keep calling it the Titan. That is an EFG here for Waste Management, as we have just crested over 30 minutes, so they are incredibly scary. With 3 players still down for Titan's Bane, this is going to have to be a Herculean Titan defense, or I think Waste Management is going to walk away with the game right here.
You said they were burning the Titan down when you meant Fire Giant, but you might as well have said Titan, as they have pushed through that mid Phoenix, are now pushing into the Titan room, still only 2 members up. Cirquette's about to spawn in, but I don't know if there'll be
Look at
enough.
the health go! It's almost gone already. 25% health, 10% health. They don't even care that the 10 members of Titan's Bane are here. They just burn that thing to the ground, and Waste Management take us to a game 3.
This has been a showcase in junglers and just how much jungle impact matters. Game 1, Flux wasn't able to make much impact, dove too far, kept dying, or maybe got a relic or 2 before getting killed off there, whilst Butters was able to essentially hard win every fight by killing the backline immediately there, and Flux taking this game as his showcase instead and making so much impact, killing Echotron, killing Butters on cooldown, putting so much presence and so much pressure onto the back line of Titan's Bane there. Game 3, I feel like, is going to be really dependent on whether or not Flux or Butters is going to be able to make the impact that they made in Game 1 and Game 2 separately.
Really excited to see how that one's going to play out. We're going to throw it back to the desk so they can break this one down for us and set us up with picks and bans. But then we're going to be back here with Game 3. We're excited to see how it goes. Take it away, King Batu and Drummer.
Welcome back to the desk. Drummer, I have just one question for you coming into this. If there's a hell on the enemy team, should you pick up anti-heal?
Oh, 100%. Way earlier. That's what I want to touch on. I noticed, I felt like the anti-heal just came online so late. We saw Hunbats with the Brawler's Beat Stick, but then that was it for the longest time. And then we didn't see anti-heal. I think the Sobek picked up Curse Donk, which, great. Curse Donk, great item, but that was it. They just had those 2 ones, and sure, you have Sickening Strike from the Sobek, but I mean, just that alone, I don't think is enough. I would have really liked to see, just personally, my decision, I would have gone with a Pestilence somewhere in there way earlier, because then you hit both the, you get that magical defense for the majority magic damage that was coming in from the other team, and you get that passive anti-heal, which is not an incredible amount of anti-heal, but it's passive. You don't have to do anything. Just stand next to them, and it's working.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely need a lot more anti-heal from Titan's Bane there. Terra, Hell, both healing quite a bit. Cerberus with the Vamp Shroud upgraded to that Blood Soak Shroud. And really, it was 2 people that have an application of anti-heal, minus the Circuit Ultimate, which is just, you target one person and that's it. Giannis not electing to go into anti-heal at all, potentially building it there on his last item, which at that point you're way too late and you're past the point of no return, as Hell coming out able to pump out 18k in healing, so basically mitigating the entirety of the Hunbat's damage during that game. And when you can eliminate the damage of a player, you're doing pretty good for yourself.
For sure. But yeah, I think we're right with that. Like they went all in on that healing and just kept it going, and then the anti-heal just didn't come into play soon enough to get in there to keep the pressure up. And it's a lot about that incidental anti-heal of just getting it on them so that even if they disengage, they can't just heal up right away. They still have that debuff on them for a few seconds.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if I'm Titan's Bane here, I'm probably looking to take this hell or take away some of this healing away from Waste Management, or at least find a better application and a better way to handle it if you want to try to let these go through. But I think we're going to be ready to switch over here for picks and bans here in just a second. So we'll go ahead and see what both of these teams look to go here coming into game number 3, the ever important game number 3, Waste Management. Again, trying to secure themselves a win here and a win next week to try to lock in that first or second place to try to get the bye coming up here for the playoffs.
Yeah. No, let's see your first ban, Odin. Okay. Pretty good.
Yeah, Titans Bane taking away the Odin. They are first pick, so not wanting to pick that up for themselves, so might as well go ahead and take it away. But Odin again is one of those big anti-heal applicators. His ultimate is you don't heal at all while you're
Oh yeah.
inside of it, so that's a really good pick into a hell. So I mean, if I'm Titans Bane banning away the Odin, I might look to either ban away the hell or first pick it here for themselves. But Geb getting banned away by Waste Management and Titans Bane of all teams banning away the Susano. Kind
Yeah.
of surprising. I definitely would have expected, considering how well that did in game number one, I definitely would have expected them to maybe look to pick up this pick here in game number three if it was available.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how what they have in store. But you're right. I think that is a strange ban. The Artemis, that's not a bad one, or the Gab. I think those are both two solid bans.
Yeah, Artemis for Waste Management there in game two had quite a big impact. Tusky came rolling through a lot of those team fights to help secure the victory. Even got a solo kill over there in duo lane thanks to the Crusher. But Titan's Bane also taking away the Tiamat. Some interesting bans coming out from Titan's Bane here in game number three. A lot of these picks are picks that you would expect Waste Management to have to ban away, and with Titan's Bane banning them out, it kind of opens the door for Waste Management to do a little bit more targeted bans here.
True. And with Titans being they're gonna be first pick here, they could have played the risky move. They could have left that team at open if they wanted to try and grab it and see force waste management. Maybe they would get it, or maybe they misplay. Maybe they don't ban it, and then try and pick it up. That could have been they could have played that way.
Yeah, because you think if you leave the Tiamat open, then Waste Management either has to ban the Tiamat or the RDO. But and then you get the other one. But Titan's Bane hovering this Uller first pick. Uller with this build coming out with the Transcendence and the Maces and the Heartseeker, his abilities hit insanely hard. When you get hit with the hail of arrows with this 3 and it's hitting for 900 damage there once he hits level 20 and gets his build online is no fun for anyone. But that does leave the hell still open and Waste Management hovering that here coming for the second pick.
Yeah, I mean, why not? If it worked once, try it again, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so looking to hover that, both the Hell and the Cerberus were pretty solid picks. Cerberus just had such great engage. Uller probably more so going to be able to easily apply anti-heal to the Hell. So hopefully he does go into the Brawler's Beat Stick and the anti-heal route, which should help quite a bit. Really, any kind of anti-heal should help quite a bit. Waste Management picking up this hell early. Titans Bane has 4 picks now to try to find an answer to this hell.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely need to. I mean, after last game, they have to just apply, like we were saying before, more anti-healing a lot sooner. But it looks like they're getting if Titans hovers this Kuka lane, his spear throw is I believe has a little bit of anti-heal on it. So that's at least another. Looks like they're going for that ability like built-in anti-heal on the soul lane again.
Yeah, Cullen, not really one of those picks that we have seen much as of late over there in that solo lane, but like you mentioned, he does have a little bit of the innate anti-heal, and he is able to build into Pestilence and Contagion, both pretty good items for him to choose. If this Cerberus is locked in and with the Terra there, it's probably going to be a Cerberus solo again, so Cullen going to be able to build that Pestilence, and that's going to help him out quite a bit in lane. But double healers again for Waste Management. Waste Management got the exact same 3 picks that had quite a large impact there in game number 1 or game number 2 there. Sorry, um, but potentially Osiris still available. I may want to see Titans Bane ban that out here in the second phase.
Oh, definitely. But like that old saying goes, if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So
Yep.
if Terra Hell worked one time, why not run it back? Oh,
Yep.
again, banning the Awilix. I guess yeah, they have. Well, yeah, all 3 of those characters can be countered by her ultimate. So I would definitely agree with that ban if you're worried about that play.
Yeah, Awelish really hasn't seen a ton of play. Um, it's definitely interesting. I'm wondering if this is more of a targeted ban going towards Flux. Um, if I remember correctly, I do believe he's played a decent amount of Wheelish. Maybe not so much, lately since, the recent jungle changes. The Wheelish really wasn't that popular, along with a lot of other ability hunters there before all their items got buffed. So maybe just targeting out one of Waste Management's junglers picks. But Waste Management, again, going to ban away the Sylvanas. They do not want to deal with this pick. They've banned it every game so far. And Titan's Bane rounding out their bans with the Osiris taking that out of Flux's hands.
Yeah, those bands make sense for that. Oh, going back, hovering the Hachimon. Okay, that's an interesting choice. It worked out okay, I guess, in the first game. I don't know if it was really that impactful though.
Yeah, for sure. Hachiman, still a safe hunter. I'm not really sure what other kind of ADC you would look to put in that role, but I mean, if you're wanting to play safe over there in the duo lane, Hachiman is up there with the likes of Jingwei when it comes to safe hunters or safe ADCs over there that are also able to throw out quite a bit of damage. But Thor getting hovered here. Thor, a pick that has not really seen much play as of late, but it's going to get locked in. What does Thor bring to the table here for Titan's Bane drummer?
Well, he can burst people down pretty quickly, and his ultimate gives him a lot of reach. It's that CC immunity, so he can kind of get out of things. If things start going south real quickly, he can fly up in the air and get away. He can use it to engage and start a fight. He can use it to escape a fight. He can just use it. And he doesn't have to come back down and hit anyone. He can just get the heck out of dodge if he needs to, which is not bad. But I don't know. We'll have to see how it stacks up because, like you were saying, I haven't seen too much Thor, so I'm not sure how it fits with the other current, more popular junglers.
Yeah, Ganesh going to round out the draft here for Titan's Bane. A little bit of zone control, space control coming out from them, as looks like we're getting hopefully a little bit of a troll hover here with the Awash. They did hover Tsukiyomi as well. Waste Management again still kind of looking for this jungler and hovering the Robin and ended up locking it in. I really enjoy this Robin pick. Robin has kind of risen a lot as one of the top junglers now. He's just applies so much burst damage with his 3 and his 1. He's got the safety with his 2, his backflip. He's just damage immune, CC immune. You can't touch me. Parachute pants on, channeling his inner MC hammer, and then his ultimate again for added safety and added just insane amounts of damage.
Oh, for sure. And I like his passive where he gets the health shield and everything. Like, so he has a little bit built in more, a little more survivability than a couple other picks they could have gone. But I'm liking it. I mean, the Cerber or the Terra Hell combo worked really well. I'm looking to see that work really well again. Uh, hopefully they can get some more Titans Bane can get some more anti heal online faster this time, and they counter that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, maybe they need to change their name from Titan's Bane to Brawler's Beat Stick here in game number 3. But Drummer, one last question for you. Who are you going to give it to? Game on the line here, Titan's Bane, Waste Management. Who you got coming out on top?
I mean, being an Uller player myself, I always want to see Ullers do well, but unfortunately, the absolute menace that the Terra Hell combo was, I think, is going to give them a slight advantage over at Waste Management.
Well, we won't delay here any longer. We're going to send it over to Voiceless One and King Batu to see if Titan's Bane can learn from their mistakes in game number 2 and finish out the set here with game 3. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Narwallaby and Drummer. My boy Argent Surge had to dip out, got to get some work done for the old college and whatnot. So that is going to leave me here with King Batu, my good friend. We're here to cast Game 3 between Titan's Bane and Waste Management. How you doing, King?
I'm doing really well. Cool to have a 208 representing here on the cast, so it should be pretty good. And looking at these team comps after watching the first 2 games, I'm excited. This Game 3 is going to be another barn burner from what I can tell.
It is going to be extremely good, at least if anything. If the first 2 games were anything to go by, I had a blast watching those 2. We heard what the desk thinks, as we tend to do here in the early stages of the game. I'm curious what you think as far as comps. You got to pick one here for game 3. Whose comp do you like better as a whole?
I think as a whole, I think I'd Waste Management just with that sustain, as well as they have that Ravana to kind of get them through that early game with that pressure. And really, Titans Bane draft here, it's very much early pick potential. You got this duo lane that's pretty much all their pressure. Uller, who likes to jump in. You've got the Ganesha, who likes to ult somebody, full combo, almost some damage behind him. Kukulkan on the other side. But if they don't really get any early pressures, you can see that they're not right now. Is Terra Hachi been able to get a little bit better of them in the poke battle here. So I'm really looking for these side lanes to try to get some pressure, which when you have a Thor in the jungle, you kind of need a couple items before you get that full damage to be able to one-shot somebody yourself. So a little bit of a dicey comp here for Titans Bane in my opinion.
You can see that there is no shortage of aggression. Both teams have been pretty aggressive here at the duo lane the first 2 games. They are not changing that here in game 3. Jumping in, and the immediate come in from the Rava on the jungle, gonna look for something, and he will blow up that Uller before he can get anything done. First kill going over to Waste Management thanks to a fantastic gank coming in from Flux. He's feeling himself after game 2.
Yeah, and that's just kind of that benefit of being Ravana here, being able to have that backflip for that Beads Aegis in one to where you can get away with the blink there, because if he doesn't have that blink, I don't think they get that first blood. And meanwhile on the other side, Thor starting with that Beads, having to play a little bit safer, that ultimate roots you in place, so it can't really be used as easy an escape as Ravana can with his 2 or that ultimate. So a little bit there where he has to play safe, and because of that, first blood goes over to Waste Management.
Very early Gorp taken down here for Waste Management. They waste no time in taking that so they can get the Gold Fury on the field. Looking like they want to play a faster paced game, especially game 2 was faster than game 1. Looking like game 3 might be faster than game 2 or game 1 here, as in the mid lane, oh wow, Ryzen very low health, going to have to be pushed back underneath his tower. They use a health so he can heal back up, but that's the damage that Ascilla can do when she's feeling herself. And actually, somewhere in the solo lane, we see the Cerberus going to get a kill onto the Kukulkan, so second kill. Now going over the way of Waste Management as well, but a counter kill coming out for Venomer. Is going to get what he was looking for onto the enemy Hell. So mid lane going the way of Titans Bane, still very even, but very aggressive coming out from both teams.
Yeah, the one downside with Hell is early game. Your big benefit that you try to do is you can poke and clear at the same time really well, but with Hell you have to kind of go into that wave, and Scylla with that crush can able to hit that whole wave very easily. Got some nice damage with that conduit gem starter item. Drew blank there for a sec. So kind of get that early pressure, and with that she's just able to kind of whittle down this Hell, and I think definitely they have the pieces to deal with this healing comp, as healing likes to deal with that sustained damage, whereas burst is very good. Can't heal when 90% of your HP is done by one ability, and that kills you. So love to see that here from the Scylla, who's getting a little bit of pressure, but Sikkim able to put that self peel and able to dash away.
Good game coming in, not quite going to be able to find what he was looking for. She will force an ultimate out though, and yeah, I agree. Hell is her early game is a little weak. She tends to pick up on value much later into the game, and unfortunately, Scylla has very strong early game, as well as early to mid game as well. As soon as she gets 1 or 2 items online, she's already very scary. So that is going to be an interesting matchup to see how that ends up playing out. Once again, over here in the solo lane, this Kukulkan is being absolutely bullied by the Cerberus. 2 levels up at the moment, and forces him to back once again underneath his tier 1 tower, just because of the sheer damage that Cerberus can throw out.
Yeah, and Kukulkan likes to fight in those waves, build that rage, kind of tank up the wave a little bit, get that transformation, so you just have more buttons than the enemy team and kind of win with that passive, giving you that little bit more power. But since he started that Fighter's Mask, doesn't really have the HP and the sustain that Cerb does, with the leap, getting those ghost sustain, as well as, of course, that Vamp Shroud, making it quite difficult. Is Terra feeling a little bit of what that combo can be late game of that Ganesha and that Scylla, but red buff is going to get stripped away there, and Thor's just going to ult out as Thor can.
I was wondering if he was going to use that aggressively or defensively, but yeah, he will use that just as an escape, as he saw the enemies coming in from Waste Management. He'll use that to get himself out. The chase is on just a little bit, not quite going to find anything there. And my mistake, that Gorp was not actually taken down over there in the over by the duo lane. That it just simply hadn't spawned yet. That was a mistake of mine earlier in the game, so pardon for that little adjustment there. But invasion coming in, attempted from Waste Management there. They're going to throw down some damage. Oh wow, over here in duo lane, that Hachiman can close the distance. He's very mobile, and he will pick up the second kill onto that Uller. Now he's securing himself a 1-level lead over his counterpart in the other Hunter. Uller unfortunately getting sidelined in a big way there. That's going to upset Drummer.
Yeah, and the difference there is that item waste management. Marco Polo going for that Jotuns with the nerf there is a lot cheaper, and of course with Hachiman passive able to keep that mana sustain, able to stay in lane long enough to get that item and back for it. Meanwhile, on the other side, this Uller going for that Transcendence. A good, I think it's almost 500-600 gold more, means he's got to stay for a good 2, 3, 4 more waves, and just because of that difference, he doesn't have his item. Marco Polo does, and that included with the fact that Uller's ultimate is not an ultimate, because he's a stance changer, means that that kill is going to go over to Marco Polo for that solo.
Absolutely, and that Transcendence also takes some time to get online. You know, buying it is not the power spike; it's when it finishes its stacks that the big power spike comes in. So he still has a little while to go yet before he's really going to see the full value from that item there.
Yeah, and especially though, I think Uller is one of those where it's a better power spike, just because with that stance switch you're wanting to spam abilities, so just getting that mana pool from the full item finished off is huge. As Hell able to walk away, the dash there from the elephant not able to grab him, but it might lead to another red buff invade as they are outnumbered, but doesn't look like they're going to commit for it.
Certainly tempted to try for just a moment there, but the Terra comes in and going to lock down the Ganesha from trying to escape, and now all the damage is out onto him. Dharmic Pillar's thrown in a very strange spot, doesn't going to connect with anything. I'm a Monster also going to come out and whiff completely. That said, the Ganesha is the first one to go down. Now there are lots of players low for Waste Management, but they do have heals. Waste Management chasing as hard as they can. They're going to get an additional kill onto that Uller, pushing back even further, going to try and find something onto the Scylla. She'll use Sikkim to get herself out. Or sorry, not Sikkim. That's her dash ability, whatever that one's called. Get herself out underneath the tier 1 tower to safety, and that will allow the relatively healthy members of Waste Management, thanks to the heals that came in from that Hell. She has definitely come online with her heals. It's called Sentinel. Thank you so much, Observer.
I would have never guessed that. I knew it was like something simple, but I'm like, it's too simple for me to remember, I guess.
They will be able to pick up this Gold Fury and potentially even get themselves another kill. Wow, that is a very low health Scylla. She's going to try and back. They're not interested in chasing the...
Don't drop to the wrong person. Okay.
Take the Gold Fury away, and now she'll be forced to back just a little bit there. Yeah. So big win coming out for Waste Management early here.
Flux had that blink one, and for that blink one to get a sneaky kill, but not able to commit. And yeah, that fight, kind of a little bit of a unintentional bait there. Hachiman takes some very aggressive pathing through 4. Ganesha and Scylla both ult to try to catch him out, but Hachiman just hops on the horse, able to dodge the Scylla ult. A lot of Scylla damage came after, though. Got 3 or 4 members low, but as we've kind of talked about at length, that Hell damage able to just sustain them enough, and that way when all buttons are down, just kind of going to favor Waste Management with some of those HP bars. Although, if we get a little bit later in that game, some of those Scylla abilities are going to end up with, instead of 2 or 3 people at 1 HP, that's going to be 2 or 3 people dead, and that's going to be a little bit different as all Flux is taking the full brunt of that engagement.
There's a good connection with I'm a Monster, going to get exactly what he was looking for. Gets a kill, but the counter kill over in the solo lane, that Cerberus continuing to bully the Kukulin will even things out. It's a 3 versus 3 over here in the mid lane. The Uller is on his way over, but isn't here quite yet. They don't want to chase too far underneath this tower. A couple shots will be tanked up, but he's not going to commit all the way. Oh, actually, it's Flux going in. He wants to gank them from behind. He'll get an immediate amount of damage, but the Scylla abilities coming out will force him back just a little bit. Relatively low health is this this Terra here, so he'll have to play carefully underneath the tower. Gets the stun off and the kill onto the Ganesha. Now extremely low health as the Thor comes in trying to punish. Thor has to force to back up. This tower's about to fall, and that may give way for more aggression for Waste Management to push up and try and find something against this Thor. You can see right there, rotating around, considering the dive is Flux, but he sees a teammate show up here in the form of this Scylla, will decide better of it. Or maybe he won't. He's still going to go. He's going even deeper, going to try and go underneath, behind tier 1 tower. Nope, decides better of it, going to back up. Play ring around the rosies just a little bit with this Scylla, and maybe get himself out to safety. Very well played. Waste Management get themselves even further in the lead by taking an additional couple kills. Oh, wow, the blink it! No! He finally found what he was looking for! Finds a lazily backing Thor and will just beat him to death in the middle of the jungle there. Oh, that's heartbreaking if you're that Thor.
Yeah, Ravana kind of going on a little bit of a treasure map quest of, 3 steps left, around, back behind, under the over, and finally finds the prey he was looking for. Wasn't able to find Scylla earlier, but that's kind of that power of this Ravana early, that huge burst damage he has with that Jotuns, and as well as that Brawler's finished. got some nice bit of pen and power. I believe he's got almost 100 power, 80, 90 power with that build already. And of course, with Ravana scaling, that one hits really hard, able to get that kill. But something else in that fight, kind of interesting, didn't get the Scylla earlier in that fight as he decided to ult in instead of blink, as we see the Pyromancer pull, which does mean that when Scylla dashes with that Sentinel, able to live there. But something else I want to talk about here is look at these Hunters. Transcendent's finally now finished for Zolt, as he's not really been rotating, but because of that, he's still a level down to this Hachiman who's been able to come over to this mid lane and put so much pressure in this 3v3 and turned it into basically a 4v3 as Ullr's kind of just been having to force to sit and farm his wave to try to catch back up.
Yeah, and you can see that despite that, the Hachiman's still able to get, more items online even faster. Starting with the Jotuns, got the Brawler's Beat Stick, or is that Crusher? They look so similar,
Crusher.
I can't tell. They look the
Crusher.
same. It's basically the same ability anyway, it's fine. Gonna be going into something in the Asi Kinsai kind of tree there with that second item, so we'll see what that ends up being. But I really like this build that's coming out here. Very ability based, as we do tend to see some of these times from Hunters starting to switch over a little bit that direction. And you can see in the player damage charts, the Hachiman leading in a huge way. It is early days still yet, but you can see the effect that lead has been having on how much damage he's been able to put out so far.
Yeah, and that's just from getting that kind of solo kill at that level 5-6 range where he's been able to keep this Ullr down and really kind of keep this pressure. And when you've got this Cerberus who's soloed not once but twice this Skakulin and has a 3-level lead, there's not a whole lot of places for Titan's Bane to try to get some counter pressure back. And it's really kind of put Butter here in a weird spot as Thor. You kind of want to just gank from a while away. We see Flux link in and we see that damage, but he finds out that even not really having an impact, this Ullr does still hurt, in fact, with Transcendence and Jotun online.
Big damage coming out. Flux biting off way more than he could chew, gets himself taken down there. That is very unfortunate. But I agree with you. The dominance over in that solo lane has made it interesting because Thor doesn't really want to head over there. It's kind of a waste of time, so he's forced to kind of just rotate between mid and left. And is it really a gank if you're just kind of staying in the lane the whole time? I don't think so. So definitely negating the impact that jungler can have. Unfortunately now, he has free roam if you're a fan of waste management because Ravana has gone down for the moment. He's back up, going to rotate over. And now we're looking for a contest over this Fury once again, trying to see who can burn it down faster. There are more players here for waste management. A couple players a little bit out of position, backed away from this fight. They're chasing incredibly hard, trying to find this final blow onto the Scylla. Holy cow! At a sliver of health, she makes it away, but that won't protect the Ullr, who is going to fall. Big cleanse and healing coming out won't protect the Hachiman from falling. In exchange, both Hunters down, but the stun comes out. This is a big retreat coming through here for Titan's Bane. Waste Management not afraid to chase whatsoever. Oh, big damage coming out from the Scylla. It won't end up being enough to protect the Ganesha, who will go down. And now it is 4 players chasing underneath the side of the tower. It's a 3-for-1 trade here for Waste Management. They get everything they were looking for. They're going to get the Fury as well. And they're going to be more than happy with that trade.
Yeah, and somehow Scylla, who was like at 1 HP before they started pulling that, is the only one on that side of the map not dead. Still at 1 HP, but just trying to use that ult to maybe try to get a steal. Ends up kind of baiting this fight as long as possible. So Oni Fury is going to go to Waste Management as they're starting to push 5.5, almost a 6k gold lead. But a little bit of a bright side here that they were trying to do is Skakulin now getting quite a bit of free farm, able to get a lot of that farm over there, invaded both the blue and of course the backs, and should get this T1 tower here. So level lead's not really shrinking, but that's a lot of farm that's missing out there. A lot of it was shared between those kills by Waste Management. So that's the one shining grace, but at this point he's still 2 levels down, barely on the same level as the enemy mid laner of this hell, so really not having a whole lot of pressure even off that not rotating.
Yeah, unfortunately that lead is mitigated just a little bit, as he did lose a couple players. But unfortunately, one of them has not been this Cerberus. He is still plenty healthy, hasn't gone down yet. Uh-oh, Dominic Pillar's locking in and taking out this hell. Even I'm a Monster being committed, unfortunately, not really useful there. Going to be wasted just a little bit. Thor ult coming in as well. Going to punish even more so Flux Giant trying desperately to escape underneath his own tier 1 tower. The stun will not come all the way through. He's at just a sliver of health, but he will make it out okay. Now the support coming in from the rest of Waste Management trying to punish here. They do not get the Thor, but they will manage to get this Ganesha as a counter kill. So 1-for-1 exchange. But unfortunately, that exchange does kind of favor Titan's Bane, as you would happily trade your support for a mid laner.
Yeah, not the worst support trade there, especially when they're trying to come back. But that definitely should have been a 2-for-1. Flux is able to get out of there with as Ravana without even using his beads. Just not enough damage, and that's partially just from them being so far behind in a lot of these fights. This mid 3v3 with rotations from Serb as well as Marco Polo on this Hachiman has really kind of just dictated this whole game. As this Pyromancer is going to fall, kind of build this a little bit more on this lead, but this Thor going with that Transcendence with behind means that he just doesn't quite have enough damage there, as he's still 31 stacks out of the 50 into it.
Yeah, and that means his big damage spike is still kind of yet to come. We'll have to see if once he gets there, he can have just a little bit more impact. Although currently is a level up, or maybe half a level up, on his counterpart in the Ravana jungler. So maybe that can play some effect here, help Titan's Bane get back into this fight. We did see Pyromancer stripped away just now. I expect to see Waste Management probably just kind of rotate, farm up just a little bit more, and then, maybe back, buy some things. And I expect to see us group up and have our traditional Fire Giant dance around 2 to 3 minutes from now.
Look at those XP charts we saw there just for a minute. Above the supports, the only one above the supports was that Kakulin, who's at the very bottom of the player damage as well, not having any sort of impact. And that's not what you play Kakulin for. You play Kakulin to pressure, to run at the back line. And when you're level 13 and level 16 characters are getting soloed by Uller, as we see that Uller still does damage even a level behind. But
not a level behind anymore.
Yeah, not a level behind anymore. Nice little shutdown there on the Hachiman, as well as he's going to be able to get a lot of farm, a lot of pressure alleviated on that side of the map. But back at that point, this kid Colin, only 2 items built. He's got Mystical and he's got Bulwark, and that's all he's got. Meanwhile, on the other side, Flozart's got this Tyrannical, making it impossible to fight anybody fight in lanes. He's got this Genji's for some cooldowns, Pridwin for a nice shield. Like, he just has so much for him. Is beautiful Eggless by Ryzen there. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though.
No, getting caught once again by those Dharmic Pillars in mid lane will confirm a kill onto the Hell. Will result in several ults having to be used, though, from Titan's Bane. They'll have to use 3 of them. And now, in a counter kill, Butter's going to go down to Flex, and the chase is on. Everybody from Titan's Bane trying to punish the very low health retreating Flux. He's got Peel in the form of the Cerberus, but I think it's going to result in a dead Cerberus instead. The dash comes through and is good from the Scylla. She'll pick up the final kill. And now there's a rotation through. Not interested in fighting too hard, though. This Terra is all by herself against a handful of people. Now the Hachiman is in sight. Maybe trying to look for a stun and a punish onto this Ganesha, but I don't think there's enough damage here for either side to secure a kill. I think the disengage is probably just going to come through.
Yeah, and we're seeing now what this Uller is going to be able to hopefully do to try to turn this around for Titan's Bane, getting a couple key axes in that fight to really interrupt, allow for some good CC set up for Scylla as well as Thor, but... Oh, what an axe. What an axe.
Gonna keep the Uller alive there.
Yeah. I was, if he missed that, I was gonna feel so bad for hyping this man up for hitting his axes and then just dying because he missed one. But well played by him there, and that is one of the few downsides of Uller, not having any CC immunity. Of course, no big ultimate there means you really got to work on your positioning there, but able to fight for another day as the lead's kind of stabilized here, and might not be super happy going to the late game down 5k gold, but you got a Thor, you got a Scylla, you do have some pieces here to really thrive in these late game fights.
And that lead may be soon to be marginalized because this Gold Fury is going to go to Titan's Bane essentially for free. They're able to identify that, or excuse me, sorry, I just completely got the teams mixed up. Waste Management going to take away the Gold Fury for free, which should make the lead even bigger. My apologies, everybody. It's Game 3. It's been a long cast.
And I think Titan's Bane a little bit there. We saw a little bit of it that the Thor, Kakulin, and the Ganesha were all grouped on Fire Giant, where they probably recognized that that's where they were at, was heading over to that Gold Fury. But just no DPS there to really pull it. And I didn't see anybody anywhere on that side of the Tier 2 to really contest that. That could have been a sneaky play to get a Fire Giant. You have the Scylla confirmed. You have Uller damage right now that's really starting to peak. 2 maces online. Looks to be going into that dominance now. So really starting to kind of come online, but unfortunately not able to get it. Was just a regular Gold Fury, it looked like, from what I could tell. So no real value other than the just golden pocket difference, which at this point, you're up 6K. You're not quite there to the level 20 item, so not the biggest deal by Titan's Bane to give up, although this fight's going to decide a lot.
Dark Pillar's pulled out. That's going to be resulting in a huge chase. The dive comes through here, trying to find a kill onto the Thor. Not quite going to get it. Flux going to be forced back up. Unfortunately, a sliver of health, this Scylla will escape and be forced to back. Everybody going to walk away from that fight alive, incredibly. But 3 ults were burned on either side. Actually, 4 ults burned on Titan's Bane, 3 for waste management. And because they have sustained due waste management, they feel comfortable pulling this Fire Giant because they know a bunch of Titan's Bane are forced to back. They're going to drop the Fire Giant for now and start to punish this Ganesha who stepped way too far forward all by himself. He's going to be dead. They're going to look to chase and get additional kills. Unfortunately, they will be answered back by a kill onto Gigafoot Zero. He will die on the Terra. They'll follow up with another one on the other frontliner. It's just 3 remaining here for waste management. One of them, Marco Polo, is extremely low. He goes down as well. They're going to get a kill onto the Scylla at last, but it will cost Flux his life. It's just the Hell remaining here. In a 2-for-4 trade, the Hell will be forced to retreat, and now Titan's Bane, they do have a frontliner and a couple damage dealers, which should mean they're able to take this this Fire Giant with a
I don't know. This is a Hell who still has both actives, doesn't have her mantle, but she's got to have enough damage, or should that gets interrupted by the knockup.
Oh, they're not quite going to get a kill. I think this is a dead Hell. Yes, the heroics rewarded there as the Hell is taken down. Unfortunate for her. That will result in the Fire Giant resetting, and now Titan's Bane are too low health to take it, though. So she loses her life, but she keeps the Fire Giant from going down to Titan's Bane. So small victories there.
Small consolation prize. Definitely could have been a little bit bigger, but just the timing on that Kakoan ult coming back up again, able to just interrupt that Hell damage and keep the backline alive, and of course that Prid Windshield coming in clutch. But you're right, does save the Fire Giant for right now. And looking at some of these builds, this Uller now level 20, should be getting close to getting that Bumba's Spear upgrade, or even the Bumba's Hammer. I think Uller's probably the one hunter where you can go either or, has that Heartseeker Transcendence. He's absolutely destroying right now. And this Scylla as well, finishing up that Obshard, was having a couple of huge crushes in that last fight, did die, but got traded out. So right now, it's a matter of if Venomamar and Zolta can really get value and get some damage off in these fights to get traded out, because they're getting good follow-up. These got some good tanks to try to close out some of these kills with this Kakulin and Ganesha, and of course Thor. Now with that Transcendence finished, they have the pieces, and this lead is almost in nothing right now. 3K gold, and you have the only level 20, but we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, where Titan's Bane was very far behind just a couple minutes ago, they brought it back in a big way, and now the gold lead has shrunk to only about 2 to 3K. Waste Management using their lead a little bit here, going to try and capitalize on what left they have to set up a fight around this Fire Giant. Attacks coming in from all sides as the players drop low. We're going to see Flozart knocked down to just a sliver of health. I don't know if he'll be able to make it out. No, he won't. That Uller will confirm the kill. That's the first death. They're trying to find something in exchange onto this Scylla. They will get what they're looking for, but they will lose Gigafoot Zero in return. 2-for-2 trade so far, as now it's Zoltarius next on the chopping block. He's going to go down. 2 remaining here for Waste Management in the backline. Are very low health. Going to try and chase away. They won't be able to quite confirm the kill, so they do lose Marco Polo, but in exchange, Flux comes back to secure the kill onto the Kakulin, so it is a 4-for-3 trade in favor of Waste Management, chasing down the Ganesha, maybe trying to look for get a deicide. No, not going to make it happen. And with only 2 remaining alive here for Waste Management, they still will not be able to take Fire Giant, so it will yet remain unclaimed as we approach 25 minutes. Still nobody going to be able to get that big neutral objective, as the farm has largely gone mostly uncontested for a while now as well, because the fighting has all happened in the jungle.
And other than items right now, and even still, this is kind of now in Titan's Bane favor. Look at the builds. Bolt's now an item ahead. Granted, he did go for the kind of cheaper wing blade, as Flozart's looking to be going for probably either Mantle, Spirit, even Magai's Cloak is going to be a little bit more. So he's got a little bit more of an expensive build. Both the junglers are about a half level difference. Zolta's now got his starter item finished, as well as what looks like Marco Polo finished his. Mids are level 19, supports level 40. Like, it's pretty much even game now, so that lead that Waste Management have weren't able to get that Fire Giant. Just enough stalls there, either by being not in the position to do it or not going there. Gives Titan's Bane a position here to be in here, although Zolta, in positions like this, might not be setting up his team for a great fight.
Essentially getting caught out there. The stun going to come through. Dharmic Pillar's answer. Actually not going to catch anybody, though, as everybody just kind of walks away here, except the exception of this Terra starting to fall down just a little bit lower. But as we've said so many times before, Waste Management have sustained for days. Oh, no. They lose the Scylla, and Flux is already on the backside looking to punish this retreat. He's going to get close. Not quite going to get what he's looking for, as there was a knock up there from the ultimate coming out from the Kukulkan. They will be able to lock down and burn down this Ganesha, and the Kukulkan is next to fall. Dead as well. It's a five men still up for Waste Management. 3-for-0 trade. Titan's Bane going to lose 3, and now at last the Fire Giant finally going to fall to Waste Management. That will give them a big buff, and I expect to see all of these towers stripped away. A big gold lead reestablished here for Waste Management.
Yeah, look at the relics too. Beads just about to come up for Scylla and Ganesha right here. As Flozart's able to keep this Oni Fury from going in trade. Just pops the thorns, is able to keep it. He needs to be careful, though. He's not that tanky with that E-Staff, and this Uller is chunking.
He will make it out okay, and they will lose the Oni Fury, but you're more than happy to take that trade as Waste Management, because now you get that Fire Giant power play going on. You still have Kukulkan down for another 10 seconds. That gives you plenty of time to strip away every last one of these towers here, which will catapult your gold lead even further if you're Waste Management. They actually are going to opt to back and spend the gold they have for the moment. May opt to siege down those towers after they have after they've spent their gold, brought all of their items back online. As you can see, most of them finishing off their builds right now with the gold they just obtained.
Yeah, I'm actually going to disagree with you a little bit here. I think this Oni Fury by Titan's Bane is huge on this siege, because, yeah, you're going to lose these towers, but you're already hitting some of your level 20s. Thor ticking over to 20. Your solo and mid are level 19. Your support's getting close to that level 17 for his starters. So as far as starters go, you're not terribly far behind. And when you look at Waste Management's comp, they don't have a whole lot of poke. They've got Hell 1, Marco Polo's got his 2, and you've got, like, Paralyzing Spit for Cerberus. And that's it. Meanwhile, if you look on the other side, you have Thor Hammer combo, you have Scylla damage, you have, even if Ganesha wants to just throw his ult for some kind of poke, Uller poke. Like, they have so much range poke where not only are these Oni waves going to stall the siege, it's going to make it so hard to just get a siege going if they just sit around too long and wait for some of these waves. So I think this is huge, as now they can kind of give a soft defend as they've spotted out Flozart over on the right side, and that's the go button here for Titan's Bane.
Not quite going to get the stun with his ult, but he will manage to get it. Follow up. And the wall, that is going to result in everybody being trapped here for Waste Management. Look at how low so many of them are. They've been burned down so quickly. Flux going to make it out alive back into the jungle as the chase continues, chasing down this lane, trying to burn down Marco Polo, using the heal coming through. Not enough. Uller's going to get what he wants. Another kill. That's the Terra and the Uller now down, and the tables have been turned. Titan's Bane now with all the advantage in the world for the time being anyway. Blink coming through, big Stygian Torment. Going to try and drag people in, but they all have beads. It'll burn every beads, but that's what it's there for. It's there to prevent you from getting grabbed like that. And so they use it. They prevent themselves from getting snuck by the Stygian Torment, and now they'll siege down this tier 2 tower. Maybe even push in and take a Phoenix as well with the man advantage they've gained.
And that's that power of that Oni Fury. Flozart having to be over in that right lane to clear that wave as they were not grouped over there. Titan's Bane noticed that and go, hey guys, we have a Thor, let's just run at them. And they're able to, well, not hitting the Thor out, get a nice wall, split up some of these fight, and with that poke, just able to poke down as they're looking to also get a Phoenix off of it. And Flozart really needs to be careful here.
No, he's going to go down. They will get Zoltarius in exchange, but they'll lose Flux for it. It's just balanced on a knife edge. 3 versus 3. That's a dead Kukulkan, and the Ganesha could be next. He's farthest in the lead, but he's very low. Now are going to retreat the rest of Titan's Bane. So 3 players remaining on either side here. Game-ending push averted. Phoenix doesn't even go down for Waste Management, so they stabilize after they lose so many players in the middle of mid. The only player still with Fire Giant on them is this Hell, Ryzen. So Fire Giant bonus now fairly neutralized as well. And that gold lead that Waste Management had is starting to mean less and less as we enter late game. We're really starting to look at 1, maybe 2 team fights deciding this game here.
Yeah, and this Fire Giant has all been wiped off. I mean, yeah, sure, Rise has it, but that's maybe 30, 45 seconds now left on that Fire Giant buff. And they got a tier 1 and a tier 2. And Waste and Titan's Bane, they got a tier 2 without an Oni Fury. So, like, they didn't really lose a whole lot off that. Sure, the siege in the left doesn't go right, but it goes wrong, and they don't lose anything off of it. Worst case scenario, Waste Management there, push, and they get the T2 there as Fire Giant falls off. So I don't hate that push at all, especially because if that goes perfectly or goes best case scenario, that's the end of this game. Like, they can end. They have Scylla, they have Uller, they have the damage, but unfortunately for them, I wouldn't even say unfortunately, just not best case scenario. They have to wait for this Fire Giant, and now it's going to go back to this fight where they have Scylla ult, so they can really kind of dictate this, provided they don't get too poked out, as Flux is finding out how much poke they do have.
Yeah, I think because this next Fire Giant is going to be an EFG. Oh wow, Big Dharmic Pillar's trying to punish the Titans, or excuse me, Waste Management for pushing up into this Pyromancer. They will force Flozart to move back. Nobody's going to go down just yet, though, as a lot of damage was also put down onto the Ganesha, so both teams managing to disengage for the current moment. Oh no, the axe going to hit the stun. I don't think you expected that to hit if you're Gigafoot Zero. You got caught out, stunned, and taken down. Big man advantage now coming out for Titan's Bane. This Fire Giant will be up very shortly. You can see the animation, it just arrived. And because that's an EFG, what I was about to say is that the winner of that EFG fight will probably take this game, and oh no! Things going from bad to worse. They lose Flozart. Waste Management now with a 2-man advantage. They're probably going to take this EFG. And I think, at the very least, using the power of the EFG, going to be able to cause serious damage to the infrastructure from Waste Management. Definitely kill some Phoenixes, maybe even end. Although, they're not prioritizing it very heavily, which is giving lots of time for the respawn timers for Waste Management for them to come back online.
Yeah, not great prioritization here, as the Ganesha's lost almost all of his HP, having his Bulwark proc now, and with Thor low, he doesn't really want to step in and just kind of...
My goodness, counter kill! Dashes back in, they're going to get what they're looking for. He will lose Marco Polo in exchange, so that may not be quite what you were looking for, but they are going to prevent this EFG from going down. Flux on the backside gets the other Hunter. It's a 2-for-1 trade in the moment for this current engagement. Flozart will be back up in 7 seconds. The Thor comes in trying to find something, but Flux will still be able to get away just long enough. They'll actually get another kill onto the Ganesha on the backside. Are you kidding me? Waste Management are bringing this back. We thought the EFG was definitely going down to Titan's Bane, but in exchange, they're going to lose everybody. That's a dead Kukulin. There's just a Thor remaining here, and he's going to have to back. He can't do this on his own. Waste Management are actually going to be the ones to pick up the EFG at 32 minutes. They'll finally get it, and once again, the game has flipped sides. It's anybody's game here.
Not a great pull there by Titan's Bane. Got a good pick, got a tank on both these tanks, but after that, really just kind of stood there and left the Fire Giant solo their support, which now means that they don't have anybody really to tank, as Kukulin, he's trying to dive in there. As Thor, is he going to try to steal this?
No, he just died better of it.
Yeah, smart Waste Management seeing the Thor in the air, waiting around. They all have beads up. Thor, only real chance is to try to steal this, take that EFG buff off of the enemy team, but deciding to keep his life, gonna ult away. But yeah, just a little bit bad prioritization, and then just sticking around for too long. You're fighting into a Hell and a Terra. Unless you have just the full-blown damage to kill, you're gonna lose that fight. And with them spread out, Uller in one spot, Scylla somewhere else, Thor in the air, Ganesha chasing down the Ravana, they were just all over the place, and because of that, they get picked off one by one by one, and Hell heals everybody else, and now that's EFG for Waste Management.
Yeah, I really got to question how long Titan's Bane sat there just kind of looking at the Fire Giant. I know there were a couple players nearby for Waste Management. They were probably nervous about a steal or something like that, but it felt like there was miscommunication. Like, Ganesha just kind of stayed in the Fire Giant pit, so he took a ton of damage while nobody else was really trying to DPS, so just commitment there really needed from Titan's Bane, and because it's not there, they get punished for hanging around way too long, and Waste Management get a big lead in exchange.
Yeah,
now push up this minion wave and probably just take down the rest of this infrastructure.
Yeah, and now with that EFG, they're going to be able to burn down these structures really well, and despite not having a bunch of poke, they have great engage. Gigafoot has this blink on this Terra, as Blink Terra ult's probably one of the strongest things. And Blink Serb ult's pretty close behind that, and that's just your two tanks, not to mention you have a Ravana that's got Blink, you've got a Hell that can stick around, Hachi that if he wants he can ult in, so they definitely have good all-in potential. So Titan's Bane need to be very aware of their positioning, try to get some poke off where they can, but don't overcommit here, because if they can get this poke down and stall this out, they have a chance, but that's going to be their best chance here, and with EFG of this kind of healing, I'm not super favoring them at the moment.
Blink comes through, gonna try and get something. I think everything was cleansed out. Stygian Torment won't get anybody. Dharmic Pillars on the backside looking to put down big damage and keep everybody at bay. Over in the back, Gigafoot Zero has pushed in all by himself really far forward. He's going to have to back up after taking a lot of damage, but in exchange, the Cerberus has pushed the Zaltarius all the way back. Marco Polo actually going to be the one to fall here underneath the Phoenix. Butterskeet finally getting what he's looking for, and Flux looking pretty low here. Gonna have to back away, almost going to lose everybody actually on Waste Management, looking very low. Flozart going down, Gigafoot Zero's probably going to be next. They're actually chasing the hell out of everybody. Flux going to fall, and Phoenix Siege gone incredibly right for Titan's Bane, incredibly wrong for Waste Management. The hell now just trying to be a distraction. He knows he's dead. He's probably not even trying to escape, just trying to soak up time to let his other teammates get back up, because this is the situation after 35 minutes where this situation can be game ending. He's doing an excellent job of eating up time. So much time wasted there trying to get that hell kill. Finally, Gigafoot Zero does escape and will be able to protect the tier 2 tower a little bit, but you still need to back. You don't want to be caught out here. You're too far forward if you're Gigafoot Zero. You need to be safe and try and bide time, let your teammates get back. Marco Polo back up in 8. Flux and Flozart going to be back up shortly after that, about 20 seconds after that. They may be able to prevent the Titan from going down here if he can just buy enough time. Very well used, still at pretty high health is Gigafoot Zero. Another's up, Marco Polo's up, Flozart's going to be up in 5. Pretty low health, all the members from Titan's Bane looking very low all of a sudden. Holy cow, where did all that damage come from? Everybody's looking squishy as heck. The damage going to come out, trying to find something. It's only 22 seconds until everybody's back up for Waste Management, and now Titan's Bane are the ones on the back foot. They're all incredibly low, but I don't think that with just the chase distance that Waste Management has to close here, I don't think they're actually going to be able to get any kills, but they prevent the game from going either way. So once again, we reset to neutral, and it is anybody's game.
That right there was the Terra ult plus something to proc it. Hachiman just basically shotgunning his ult, not even using it for the travel, but just that cone damage in front of him to chunk everybody down, able to push them back, and that's that power of that Terra ult. One of my favorite ultimates in the game, especially from behind, and the great siege defense by Titan's Bane, able to keep their Phoenix up because they were able to grab Marco Polo first, and that's who you want to keep up and keep that buff the most, is that Hunter who's going to be able to shred these objectives, get you that Phoenix down, get that damage on the Titan. But on the flip side, because he was the first down, he's the first one back up to defend, and maybe not the person you want best, but in that scenario, did about as well as anybody really needed to do. Pushes Titan Bane off, and hey, look, this square, it's got the number 1 in it, because we're back in it, right around Fire Giant.
Yeah, and make no mistake here, folks. This gold lead means nothing. The gold is no longer a factor whatsoever. All that buys you is those 3,000 gold power pots. That barely matters, especially because at this stage of the game, the difference between those two is relatively minimal. This is anybody's game, and it's going to come down to who can win a team fight in the most decisive manner. And at this point, because respawn timers are so long, it's probably only one team fight remaining between victory and defeat here. Oh, big damage going on to Gigafoot Zero. He's once again a little bit too far forward, going to get hit pretty hard. He has healing and he has a shield, though. Dharmic Pillar is going to come up and zone. That does not do damage. That is to zone and allow Titan's Bane to regroup before they come back in. Not going to quite hit the 3 with Uller onto Flux. He's going to get himself healed back up. Remember, Sustain is here for Waste Management. They're okay with long Titan. Yeah, Uller putting out big damage. Flux getting very low, but in the backline, Cerberus putting big damage of his own onto the Hunter from Titan's Bane. This fight is spread out everywhere, all over the place. The I'm a Monster going to secure a kill onto Flozart. The first one down is a kill over on Waste Management side. Zaltarius looking a little bit low, but he is in the backline. They've pushed back Waste Management back kind of underneath the tower. They don't feel quite secure enough to chase, and I don't know if they feel secure enough to try and pull Fire Giant. This is kind of a no man's land. Waste Management, if they can buy time here, potentially can buy long enough for Flozart to get back up. They do have Sustain. They're okay with drawing this fight out. Sun going to come through, trying to look for something. You can see Dharmic Pillar's up once again, trying to find something. Going to put a lot of damage down, unfortunately, onto Marco Polo and Gigafoot Zero. Marco Polo is going to go down. Gigafoot Zero probably not long behind him as they collapse onto him. He's headed the wrong direction. He's definitely dead. Rise and falls as well, using the blink, but he's going nowhere fast. This is just to buy time once again. Flux does find Zaltarius on the other side. Incredibly going to even things out, but now Flux going to die as well. Just Gigafoot Zero remaining. He will actually incredibly be able to back and save. He's the only one up once again. 4 players still alive here for Titan's Bane. They're going to take this Fire Giant and then probably move to end the game here. I don't know. It's so tight. So much time was bought by characters running around in circles, wasting time from waste management. This Titan will fall pretty quickly. They'll probably get to the Titan with around 20 seconds or so left on those respawn timers. It's so close here. I could see Titan's Bane just closing us out. Nope, they're not even going to try.
Yeah,
They're
they
not going to try and
can't.
capitalize.
With the Uller falling down, that's your objective damage. Sure, Thor can do it, but he's got to get in the face. And something that's really making these engagements a lot more difficult for Titan's Bane than it really should be is look at the relics. They have 0 blinks. So the only way they can engage is either Ekatron has to drop his ultimate, or they have to dash or leap in. Nicolan has to leap in, Thor has to hammer in, Scylla has to dash in, Uller has to leap in, Ganesh has to leap in. So they have to commit so much to just start these fights. And props to them, they're able to get this EFG, put themselves in the driver's seat to try to get back in this game and win it. As we've got even towers, a tier 2 left up in each side, pretty much even gold. I mean, it's 2K, but at this point, that's a 500 pot here, 500 pot there, not really anything that's gonna super matter. And really, the biggest thing from waste management is, yes, they're staying in these fights, they're not dying immediately, but they're not grouping for these heals. One's going to the tier 2, one's looping around, someone's off in the back. So while they have all this healing and sustain, they're just not taking advantage of it. And on the other side, you have so much just absolute burst from Thor, Scylla, Uller, where yeah, you'll heal a little bit, but unless you're getting that value as a team, you're just gonna get chunked down again.
Yeah, I keep feeling like we're seconds away from ending here. One decisive team fight could have ended this game for like the last 15 minutes, but it's just been one close team fight after another as both teams just trading blow for blow, haymaker after haymaker. And we're not done yet. Aggression coming through here. The Dharmic Pillars drop to provide space, try and get everybody out safely. I'm a Monster gonna whiff, not gonna find anything, but will get a ton of damage with Crush onto Flozart. He's backed up and extremely low. That will force him to back up and heal. All thoughts of team fighting are now gone for waste management because of how low Flozart dropped from that one Crush. Pushing up into the right lane on his own is this Thor. He's going to get a Phoenix, especially with the stun right there onto Flux. Going to make sure that Phoenix goes down. That's one down. 2 Phoenixes down. Second one going to fall in the right side. Gigafoot Zero trying to look to flank around the backside. Oh my goodness! Insane damage, almost going to one-shot Marco Polo right there. And there's only 1 Phoenix remaining. Now the siege begins. All players still alive for waste management. But if they lose anyone, this game is probably over. The Thor going to use ult to get himself out, not in. As the Phoenix Siege going to come around this final one, the Titan is under attack. Fire minions starting to push in. Waste management will have to keep sending people back to clear those, but fortunately they're close because they are not going to leave their base anytime soon.
Yeah, and Titan's Bane can just wait this. Everybody has relics, everybody's decently HP. This mid Phoenix, you're just waiting for a push here as Ganesha tries to get a little bit of something, but just not enough value off this ultimate.
They'll get burned down quite a bit. Big damage, and the Stygian Torment going to come out, drag everybody in. I'm a Monster not going to connect, and that's going to be a dead Ganesha, dead Scylla. Now 3 players only alive for Titan's Bane, while 5 up for waste management. They're chasing down the mid lane, trying to get something onto these 3 retreating players desperately. Finally going to get a stun up. Zeltarius is dead. Thor is dead. It's just a Cocolan remaining. I don't know how much longer he has here, but the respawn timers are so long. I don't even think they care, yet they're going to let him go. They don't care. Push down mid lane, take these towers. They can even dash through right lane, take the Phoenix. I think waste management have finally just closed this game out.
Yeah, and this is where this healing is going to be huge, is they won't even need these minions with this late in the game. People with their 3k pots, their full item builds, able to just burn down these objectives, and there's not going to be a whole lot Bolt's going to be able to do. He's got to survive for 30 seconds, and he's doing his best, but he's already half HP.
Shield immediately gone. You can see the shield get procced and then disappear instantly. He's going to have to dash back, go back into the fountain. He's been sidelined, can't put out enough damage. The final kill will come through on Flux. He's pushing back the minion waves. They've had to send somebody back to base to keep the fire minions off of their own Titan, but they will close us out. And after 3 incredible games, Waste Management are your victors in the closest 2-1 I think I have ever seen casting here for the Albion Giants League.
Yeah, I definitely know if I'm any of the players involved in this match, I definitely have some more gray hair after playing in this one. Back and forth from start to finish, winning and then losing and then winning and losing all to the end. But gotta give a shout out there to both these teams. Their siege defenses were amazing there. Flux specifically able to go in and kill the Scylla without even using his ultimate, which allows them to keep those blinks up, re-engage, and ultimately win on that final push.
Man, I've got gray hairs, and all I did was watch this game. Holy cow! I'm speechless. I'm speechless. Incredibly well played from both teams. Most respect I can give to everybody involved with this match. That was a nail biter from start to finish. I don't even know what to say about it. Maybe the desk can come up with something. We're going to throw it to them. Maybe they'll be a little bit more verbose than I am. Let's throw it back to Narwallaby and Drummer on the desk.
Thank you very much, Voiceless One and King Batu, for bringing us that insanely wild set that we just watched here. Waste Management coming out with the 2-1 victory over Titans Bane. And Drummer, what an amazing set we got a chance to watch today.
Oh, for sure. Always love seeing the back and forth. That third game was absolutely crazy. Like they were saying in the cast, at any moment, it just one slight misstep and that was going one way or the other. I liked seeing the better distribution of anti-heal items coming out from Titan's Bane this time. They had a much earlier Divine Rune, the Curse Donk, 2 Brawlers beat 6. They definitely had the right idea, and I think there were so many moments where I was like, oh, Titan's Bane's got this. There's no way. But then there was just a couple key decisions. I think specifically at that first enhanced fire giant where they kind of danced around it. They didn't really commit to it when they could have. So they kind of wasted a little too much time with that. Let respawn timers get lower and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, I mean, just that last Phoenix push just did not go their way, and Waste Management was able to clean it up.
Yeah, and especially, with long sets like this one, I mean, we had a 44-minute game, a 33-minute game, and then another 44-minute game. They're at the end there for Titans Bane. You kind of wonder if a bit of the nerves are they got themselves a little bit antsy to try to push down that last middle lane Phoenix there. I mean, they still had, over a minute left on their enhanced fire giant, and both the side lane Phoenixes were already down. You kind of think, maybe you just sit there and wait for those fire minions to start pushing into the base before you try to siege into that mid lane, which is one of the harder Phoenixes to take because there's so much areas for wraparound. And again, we had another big battle of the junglers. Flux and Butterskelly both played exceptionally well. Flux just got the better of it there in that last little team fight, able to get onto the back line and take out the Scylla, so eliminated a lot of her damage. And Zaltarius also falling in that engagement kind of put a huge hindrance on that fight and allowed for Waste Management to come through for the victory.
For sure. But it was, like they were saying, it was anybody's game. Both teams played exceptionally well. That Uller was definitely a linchpin for Titans Bane there. But like I said, unfortunately, in the end, there were just a couple of very important picks that got made. And when you're that late in the game, one slight misstep and that's it. That's GG.
Yeah, for sure. But again, congratulations to Waste Management for taking the 2-1 victory here over Titans Bane. We're going to go ahead and wrap up everything here on the stream. It's been a long one for us. I've been Narwallaby, joined on the desk here by the one and only Drummer. Voiceless One and Argent bringing us game 1 and 2. Then we had King Batu coming in for game 3, and the ever lovely Illicit Sleet on our production tonight. Join us back here again tomorrow, Monday at 7 p.m. We're going to be having a collegiate matchup, so it should be another exciting one there. But that's going to do it for us and everyone here at Albion Giants. Thanks for stopping by the stream and watching this amazing set, and we will see you tomorrow.